evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's continued coverage of the ESports Oval League's Grind Cup Series as we are here under the lights at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Getting ready for our home stretch towards the playoffs. Only 5 races remaining till we will be beginning that run towards the championship and running the same racetrack that we ran last week when it was non-points all-star racing. Here tonight, 260 laps await these drivers in the Top It Off Hot Sauce 390. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Scott Rankin, who's going to be starting on the front row here tonight. But Scott, you were up here in the booth, a chance to observe last week when we watched the all-star race go down here at Charlotte. What kind of notes were you able to take away, apply here in practice as we get ready for an endurance race here tonight?
Survival was a big thing. You can really look to use 2 tires to make your way through the field, grab yourself a whole bunch of track position if you can. But yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities. The track's a lot wider than you think, and if you're in dirty air, you can absolutely leverage. You can leverage the different lanes to cut your way through the field.
Saw Tom Bourne last week win the all-star race here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he locks up the pole position for tonight's festivities alongside of Jonathan Cogswell. Got 23 drivers, looks like, are going to be taking the green flag here tonight for this one. A number of drivers already locked into the field with victories. The playoff field. A number of drivers currently locked into the playoff grid through points, but down around that cut line, still an opportunity for a few drivers to be able to move their way in. Of course, with the win in your in system here tonight, Charlotte Motor Speedway, long races like this, if it comes down to fuel strategy, we could end up having ourselves an underdog surprise winner, a last-minute addition into the postseason. So we'll wait and see if that happens. 3 stages tonight. First stage, 65 laps. Second stage, another 65 laps at the halfway point of lap 130. And then we run the final 130 laps to the conclusion. Tom Bourne and Jonathan Cogswell could be that front row here to get us underway.
Couple important points as well. Since we last went racing for regular season racing and not the All-Star, there is actually a couple penalties that have been applied. Alan Dobbs has picked himself up penalties for contact with DJ Daniels. DJ Daniels done for the season. He is out of the league. He will not return. So you'll not be seeing him moving forwards. Alan Dobbs, though, 1 lap stop and hold. So he loses his result from Michigan. He gets DQ'd from that result sheet for being part of the contact. And the way that he derives and some decisions that he need to make there, he also gets himself a 1 lap stop and hold tonight as well.
We understand that he also this evening is racing for a new team. Going to be sporting a Toyota Camry this evening out of DDRT. As Tom Bourne leads the way here over Cogswell. That generic car in 3rd position, that's the 71 of Brock Whitehead. Not certain what was going on with trading paints, but for some reason it wasn't loading his scheme in for us. Scott Rankin in that 4th position, sporting a special scheme as well. It's Patriotic Night. A lot of drivers with the red, white, and blue. I also noticed a driver back there around the 7th position. It's a Chevrolet Camaro body, but he's driving a Red Bull Holden, so I'm not sure what to think about that one.
I have no idea where that one came from either, but I said to him, hey, the 31 machine, he's showing schemes and getting excited for it. I said, all right, well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. You can't just do it. Because if you screw up this, it's actually based on a Holden Commodore V8 supercar scheme. Yeah, so he had to make sure he did it right, and I think he's actually done quite a good job on that scheme. There's a number of really, really good paint schemes actually in the field tonight. I've seen some really, really good work. So the guys have been out here and working hard on their cars.
Some nice throwbacks as well. You've got that red, white, and blue number 46 of Dalton McKenney trying to get by Christian Ruse. That, of course, a Jimmy Johnson throwback. Not sure exactly what year that was. He ran the patriotic scheme, but good look there on the McDingers Chevrolet Camaro. Ryan Catalano in the 92 with the Top It Off Hot Sauce sponsorship, but looks like he's some type of an aircraft there. It's got the rivets on the sheet metal on that number 92 Toyota. Someone was down the apron right there, I noticed.
Johnny Williams was just coming out of the pit lane. He's a lap down.
There he is. Another Jimmy Johnson throwback there. His Chevrolet. Looks like Tanner Marr is currently off the racetrack. He took the green. But
I think it was issues with Johnny Williams from the rear on the start. There was some discussion about that.
No caution for whatever the incident was. And Tanner Marr, Talladega winner, is currently being scored off the racetrack as Tom Bourne continues to show the way. Good battling throughout the field, though. Here in the latter half of the top 10, there's Brandon Cooper working his way to the inside of Christian Ruse. Cooper, one of the fastest in practice. Right behind him, Matthew Rodriguez. We'll be hearing from Matt Rod during the course of this race as well, as he's also pulling double duty up in the broadcast booth as well.
I think everyone's just settling in at the moment. The big thing at the moment, Seth, is that fuel range is about 41, 42 laps. So you've got to save your tire to make sure that your tires can go that distance, is going to be hugely important. But also fuel mileage. Everyone's going to have to make a stop in the stages tonight. Fuel will not be relevant to that. How you use the tires will be very relevant, though.
And is there a lot of similarities this week to what we saw last week, where if you abuse those tires, you are going to plummet on the long run? Or are there some adjustments that drivers have been able to make here to maybe preserve those tires for a little bit longer, but still keep the aggressive pace up? Oh, caution's out.
Yeah.
Patrick McQuaid has had an issue on the front straightaway, it looks like. Number 77. Chevrolet, the smoke pit barbecue machine. Nice chrome look there on that red, white, and blue patriotic scheme. Let's go back, take a look, and see what happened to him. Looks like you got a little assistance there from 32 of Matt Davies. Through the infield grass, a little bit of a bumpy ride there as he makes his way up over the Legends course. A couple of drivers fly by him there, but single car incident for the most part. Really no damage. And able to continue on. This caution going to be a big break for Alan Dobbs, who, via the penalties you were talking about, started this race from one lap down. He'll now get the free pass.
Well, so he's up here, and he will get back onto the lead lap. Which is, yeah, is what it is.
You don't seem very happy about that.
Look, I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that penalty. There's been a lot of debate back and forth about what is the correct way to do it, and Alan tried to make his case as well, which, you know, he's entitled to him. I mean, the thing is, we all go race car driving. But what the penalty came down to was that him and DJ got into each other. Now, there was multiple incidents back at Michigan. There was one of them that I actually said, hey, that looks really bad, and I actually didn't want to talk any further about it. That incident actually turned out to be looseness, and I was wrong on that one. So again, whenever you look at an incident on the surface, it is not always black and white until you get a little bit more. And the trouble with broadcasting is oftentimes you don't get a lot more straight away. But the admin team wasn't reviewing that incident. They reviewed a different one. Effectively, DJ came down the track and made contact with Alan. And Alan says, in his opinion, his only take on that was to turn up the track and effectively he had two options. He believes that his option was straightening out. He was effectively going to get spun out by the contact with DJ. That was always going to happen. So his response was to turn into the contact, to mean that DJ would take more of the contact than him. That still counts as turning into the wreck and wrecking another race car. That is why he was initially going to receive a 1-week suspension. That penalty has been downgraded to, he received a DQ from the race results back at Michigan, and he also got the 1-lap stop and hold here tonight. So there was a lot of discourse about that. I think Alan raising the issue, bringing it up and trying to resolve it, yes, I think he's in the right. I think he has a case that, you know, he believes the penalty it's the method that he's gone about it, and he has lost a lot of respect from a lot of different people for the methods that he went about it in, and that is wherein I'm not happy about it.
This is why
and
I
at the end
love
of
you,
the day,
Scott, because your voice is just so smooth and buttery. It's made this caution period just fly by.
so it has, of course. Well, I mean, I've just talked for like 4 straight laps here, so let's go back racing, I reckon.
So lights out on the pace car. Getting ready to go back green. Tom Bourne going to get us back underway after leading the opening 12 laps, 11 completed. Had a bit of a mixed bag there as far as drivers to pit road, drivers that stayed out. 10 drivers stayed out. Everybody else came down pit lane for the most part. Looks like it was topping off the fuel tank. Might have been a couple of 2-tire stops in there.
Man, it's a
Cannot make it
260 lap
home.
race. It is a very bold choice to be taking tires this early.
Yeah, that's a big thing. 7 sets of tires. We actually got an extra set of tires, some extra tires for tonight's race for the additional race length.
Lengthy first stage here as well. I don't know, you mentioned about the fuel number there. Maybe some drivers trying to see if that could be their only pit stop for fuel here under this,
Nope,
under this stage.
you will have to stop again. You will have to stop again. It does not clear you with that.
Okay. Back through the restart zone, Tom Bourne gets a great launch. Brock Whitehead to his outside. Bourne will almost clear here as they head into turn 1. Should clear by the time they get through the center of the corner, which indeed he will do. Whitehead will move down to second. Battle will be for third. Dalton McKenney to the outside of Scott Rankin. Noah Jackson looking on there in the 20. Most recent points pain winner a couple of weeks ago. Getting his first win on the season at the Michigan International Speedway. He's already locked into the playoffs on points, but now further solidifies his playoff positioning with a victory. Another driver that's been close to going to victory lane multiple times this season, right behind him, that Blue Buffalo Toyota Camry of Trey Whitehead.
Man, you can just see the aero blocking games going on here.
And we saw that in the All-Star race as well. A lot of the slide jobs to tuck up in front as quickly as you can, put dirty air on the nose. One thing I have noticed here, and maybe it's been happening, I've just been missing it, but I've seen a couple of drivers go up and kind of brush the outside wall. We haven't seen anybody really knocking down the outside wall, which we saw a lot of in the All-Star Open heat races and the All-Star race itself.
Yeah, different kind of style of racing though. Everyone here is backing up the tires. I'm talking a little bit to Matt Rudd before the race, and the big thing was that he said after last week everyone was pressing on the tires. Pretty much the guys that burned off their tires last week were intentionally driving aggressive, and the All-Star race format last week did kind of lend itself to that. So there is that nature of it. So I don't think we'll see the tires fall off anywhere near as much, but definitely the tires will be falling off here. So protecting them is important, but not as much as we saw last week.
About that slick-looking race car of Ryan Catalano, and during that caution he spent a pretty good amount of time on pit road getting some type of damage repaired. It looks like his car is just a little bit off the pace. Tail end of the lead lap right now in the 21st position, so we'll see if they can continue to work on that race car here, get him back up competitive. He was running up inside of the latter portion of the top 10 when we saw him the first time. Dalton McKenney now has moved into the second spot, trying to chase down Tom Bourne about 4.5 tenths of a second. Dalton coming into this race 5th in overall points. That is 3rd highest of the drivers that have not gone to victory lane. Currently sitting comfortably in a points pain playoff position. But you know, I look at the list of drivers right now that are looking like they're going to point their way in to the postseason if they don't get a checkered flag, like McQuaid, Whitehead, McKenney, Ruse, Cogswell. This is a golden opportunity for them here tonight to maybe go a little bit outside the box in terms of strategy, try and see if they can snag themselves a checkered flag, because that pays out some very important playoff points once everything's reformatted at the conclusion of Daytona.
Yeah, and I think also stage wins are going to become a little bit more of an important talking point. Obviously, Alan Dobbs has dominated that case of things here tonight, so you know he's thus far in the season, not tonight. But you know, it's very, very important to point out that is going to become a more and more important point of the season as we're getting towards the back end of it. We've already seen some aggressive fuel strategies. I mean, how many times have I tried to run the thing out of gas to pick up a stage win?
At least twice that I can recall.
So, it is relevant. Tonight, fuel strategy won't be a part of it. I think tires will be the big thing. I'm going to give away my strategy seeds early on, and Matt Rod can do whatever the hell he wants with it, because good luck, Matt Rod. I'm up here, mate. Come and catch me if you can.
I am one car behind you. I am here.
My point stands. I'm up here. Come catch me if you can.
By the way, we had a question for you, Matt. When we saw you racing last week in the All-Star race, you've got Love Bug on the car. How are you not the 53?
You know, I kind of thought about that, and man, Trey got shot out like a cannon. Okay. But no, I thought about that, and I was a little bit late to ask Mir, and then when man, you really should have mentioned this earlier. I would have changed the number and everything.
You're clearly a little bit busy, hands full at the moment.
Trey is, he is here.
Got a lot of Toyotas up here at the front. Third back to seventh, all Camrys. Highest running Ford. Under fire right now, Jonathan Cogswell. That's Rylan Faccianato up there on the top side. A lot of these drivers here this evening did not take part in either the Open or the All-Star race last week, so gotta wonder, that extra track time for those that did participate last week, how much of an advantage that gives them coming into tonight's race. I mean, you and I talked about, Scott, those drivers that raced in the All-Star Open maybe had a little bit of a leg up on the drivers in the All-Star race since they had run those extra laps and kind of knew about the track conditions and what the tires were going to do at certain portions of the race.
Yeah, for sure. It is very, very important to have that in the back of your mind, but the biggest thing is completely two different styles of race. So it is very important to be aware of what happened last week, and a huge advantage to have been here. But, at the end of the day, it's still a race car, it's still a next gen. It's still going to drive the way a next gen's going to drive. So.
Don't worry. I'll save you. I actually have a little bit of a different opinion on that because, again, I did race last week, and I will admit the car does drive a little bit differently. The only really things that I can take away from the All-Star race here is looking at my strategy last week of, hey, I know what tires can do, I know how to save them, I know how I need to race, and here's our limits. And this is how it feels back in traffic, this is how it runs. But, for the individual track condition, I mean, it feels a little bit different tonight than it did the All-Star race. It feels like maybe there's a little bit less grip, or maybe it's a little bit cooler outside.
Checking in there on the weather, and track temperature about 73 degrees. I don't remember what it was during the All-Star race weekend last week.
A little bit warmer last week.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was about 5 or so degrees warmer, 5 to 10 degrees warmer. So not huge, but there was a slightly warmer racetrack last week.
A pinch different, although this is my skill level I'm talking about, so...
your skill level feels a pinch different?
Last week I was going for broke, and this week I can no longer go for broke because I am broke.
I got an issue. Do you know how much fuel we're burning in gallons per lap? Because my fuel data readouts in liters and I'm driving in gallons.
Why? Why?
Because I forgot to take that before the race. Yeah, okay, yeah, look. I've been doing a lot of practice. It's about 24 hours actually on this weekend, and Matt and I were actually talking about that yesterday. In talking about whether or not he should run. So everyone who thinks that Matt Rod should run a OnlyFans McLaren this weekend at Spa 24-hour, raise your hand.
I would quickly open up an OnlyFans.
Everyone raise their hands, Matt. Everyone raise their hands. So, but the biggest thing is this is going to be. We got about 16, 17 laps of fuel from here. It's going to get us to about 45. So we sort of need about 15 laps of gas. So we need to add about 5 gallons. And the reason for that is if this is a fuel-only stop, you do not want to add excess fuel. So recommended is obviously going to be to fill the tank here under this stop by iRacing. And the reason for that is going to be iRacing is targeting and any fuel calculator is trying to get you to the end of the race. We're not racing to the end of the race here. We're racing to lap 60. So I'm going to fill my car with lap 60 in mind. At lap 60, I'm going to take a full set of tires, and that is going to cover off the full fuel that I'm going to add into this race car.
So from what I'm understanding, no tires here, a fuel-only stop coming up here to put in that,
fuel only
that
stop.
5 gallon?
Fuel only stop for me. I want tires for the back end of the race, basically. Because we have 130 laps in that final stage.
Remember, but the fuel tanks are also reduced size. I mean, if you take 4 tires, you're waiting on tires. Taking 2 tires seem more of a kind of flip a coin. What you're going to get out of it?
A couple drivers working their way up here through the field in the latter portion of this stage. We saw Patrick McQuaid go around on the front straightaway earlier. He's been able to make his way back up to 14th. Alan Dobbs running back outside the top 15 for up to about 5 laps ago, and now he is up into the 12th position after getting the lucky dog. Jeffrey Kleinsman just got the wall up ahead of him there in the 15, and he told him he could do whatever he wants, so I just saw Matt Rod dive onto pit road.
You stealing my strat?
Hey, not my fault you were in the camera shot.
Trey Wetthead's coming down this time as well.
Yeah.
I think the undercut's going to be strong here. We're going to find out if that's accurate or not, but I feel it's going to be strong.
Well, if you're going for tires, it will be. If you're not going for tires, then it's probably not going to matter all that much.
I risked it. I took 2. I was waiting on fuel. I'll let you figure out which 2 tires I took.
Rears.
You know, that would have been a really good idea. We're about to see if this car turns or if it turns a little too well.
Battling going on here. This would eventually be for some of the final stage points given out, though all these drivers will still have to come to pit road themselves. Christian Ruse, Peyton Holland there. Dobbs going to take it 3 wide, putting Rylan Faccianato in the middle as they make their way into turn 3. 25 getting a little tight there. A lot of air moving around him. He'll now lose a couple of those spots and drift from 7th back to 9th.
Tell you what though, Matt Rod was not wrong about the free air. I just got clean air for the first time tonight. Oh boy!
Yeah, no,
different race car.
It
Completely
feels
different race car.
fantastic.
It does.
Tom
What do I
Bourne-
got to do to get me more of this?
Tom Bourne
You feel
with the
like
pit
Jimmy
stop, giving up
Johnson.
the lead.
You feel like Jimmy Johnson in open air. You feel like Cody Ware in air.
You telling me if
post.
Cody Ware, that's the problem? Cody Ware would win a bunch of races if he just had clean air?
Honestly, I believe it. I mean, him and Jimmy Johnson were battling in points here for for a good few races, even though Jimmy only ran like 2.
I was gonna say there was a slight difference in the number of starts between those 2 guys, but
I believe Tom may have us beat on strategy because he had the superior track position. I think he may have taken right side tires as well.
if he took right side tires, he didn't wait as long for fuel as you guys did. Because the pit stop difference right now about 4 seconds faster for the 16.
I will say that Tom is a little bit better with math than I am, so he may have put less fuel in the car than.
I'm going to go ahead and say that's exactly what he did.
I'm having a little tragic feeling that I may have put a little too much fuel in the car.
So remember all that talk we did about, what, 15 laps ago, Matt Rod, about how much fuel we're going to add to the race car?
We're saying liters. I needed it in American.
I said 5.5 gallon. I finished it in gallons, thank you.
Oh, I put 9.1 in.
There's your issue.
That may
There it is.
explain.
Well, conveniently, at that
did
point in
9.1
time, we're about 15, 16 laps to go on the fuel that I had left, which gave me the fuel number I needed. So that was actually really convenient.
It's okay, Scott. You brought him over to your side. He did 9.1 for SVG.
Oh, no. How I looked at it is I looked at my fuel gauge and I was like, oh, well, I've got 4.3 left in the tank. The tank holds 13, so I just need 9.1 and I'll be somewhat foolish.
No, yeah, you filled the tank. Yeah, so you were thinking about the fuel number that you needed to get to the end of the stage, and you added that number instead of bringing yourself up to that number.
See,
what
now
he's
you've
done.
unlocked my strategy of where I'm going to stay out and blitz the field. And clean
Math
air.
is not my strong suit, and I love how Matt Rod named off all those numbers and then ended the sentence with a word that ends in ish.
Look, man, I just drive the car.
Look, the important part is he's got enough fuel to get to the point that he needs to get, and then that's all that matters.
Yeah, ish. Anyway, a couple of Toyotas that have been really working their way up through here. Look like they've got some pretty good long-run machines. Noah Jackson now up to second. He had taken the third position before Tom Bourne dove onto pit lane. Brandon Cooper has been able to work his way up from outside of the top 10 now to the third spot. So if we're looking at some drivers that have some pretty good long-run speed, that 20 and that 54, a couple of former winners on the season, might be some of those ones to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we always knew that Noah Jackson was going to be quick. The big thing is Brandon Cooper was actually the quickest car in practice session. So he clearly made a mistake in terms of qualifying. So a little bit of an issue there for him. But he's recovered nicely from that. And I think that's the biggest thing is that we talk about it a lot. What strategy is strategy is all about we're going to see some overtakes. So I might have to shut up here for 2 minutes.
At least he's on. Oh, that's a fence.
Alan Dobbs, Alex Heller have both just dove onto pit road in the last couple of laps. Trey Whitehead right now the highest running of everybody that has pit so far. 1 lap down, currently in the 17th position. You can see the difference of the tires that he's got on board as he's going to start slicing and dicing his way through the field. Matt Mettler with a big send to the inside of Patrick McQuaid. That is for the 9th spot behind Rylan Faccianato. Trio of Chevrolets all nose to tail right there from 8th back to 10th position.
I think I've got insider information that Scott may be looking for pit road this next lap.
Yeah, I think everyone's about out. I was just about to say I'm out of fuel at the end of this lap, so.
I think a lot of people were banking on a caution to kind of bail him out and save him because, like I said, I'm currently how myself, Tom, and Trey are. We're stuck a lap down.
Scott makes the dive onto pit lane. Looks like Dalton McKenney gonna follow him down. Rylan Faccianato in this lap as well. Lead gets turned over to the Kubota Toyota Camry of Noah Jackson, our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Michigan, looking for back-to-back points-paying wins. And Brandon Cooper, 2-time winner on the season, right there on his tail. See how long these two drivers run before they make the dive onto pit road. 4 drivers still yet to pit that did not come to pit lane under our only caution. Cooper's in this time. Christian Ruse also. So we now await Jackson and Brock Whitehead. Here comes Noah Jackson. Gets the car woed down. Brock Whitehead gonna follow him in. And now we wait to see just how far these drivers that did come to pit road under that yellow are gonna be able to go. Peyton Holland in that patriotic red, white, and blue M&M's Toyota Camry, going to inherit the race lead.
Trey Whitehead's going to inherit it, I think, at the moment. He had a really clean on and off pit road, so he's in a great spot. I do wonder whether or not there's going to be a couple guys out here who might be taking this very, very deep. The issue is, it was about 41 laps worth of gas that you had in the race car. 41, 42. These guys pit at the end of lap 10. And now they can make it if they fuel save aggressively, but the problem is the amount of fuel saving that they have to do and the lap times they have to do for the period of time they have to do it, they will lose time, they will lose out, the strategy won't work. That is why everyone on the field has to pit. Oh, that is problematic.
Caution out. Jeffrey Kleinsma in the 15 might have been the reason for this yellow. Right in the middle of green flag pit stops. We had 9 drivers on the lead lap at the time that yellow flag flew. We will undoubtedly have a number of wave arounds here, as let's take a look and see what happened to the Mountain Dew Kickstart Chevrolet. Oh, looks like he had a moment coming off of pit lane. I remember you talking about this last week, Scott, that bump on pit road exit there. That's exactly what Kleinsma hit as the car goes around.
Yeah, that's what he hit.
And I
You know what?
believe that the reason the caution flies is you'll see after he spun out, 54 Brandon Cooper is also on pit road, and he's going to enter into the vicinity as the 15 is facing towards the inside wall. There you see the back end unload over the bump. At this point, he's down off the racing surface, but there's Brandon Cooper going right by him, so that's why the officials throw out the yellow. And it's going to be in the vicinity of about 15 laps to go, maybe a little less when we end up going back green here, but now the strategy is they're all completely different with the timing of this yellow. A number of drivers had come to pit road already, had lost a lap. Number of drivers here were still yet to have to come to pit lane before the conclusion of the stage. Looks like Jonathan Cogswell is going to inherit the race lead here.
So you remember how confident I said it was in that fuel number? We made a mistake, boys, with that fuel number. I'm so glad Matt Rod did not say my fuel number. It would have been a 5 lap short on gap.
Ah! Okay. See, I'm smart. I'm smart.
When he gave you the strategy, Matt, was there an ish in there somewhere?
Honestly, part of me really hopes that I did listen to
Well, no, so
he said all that.
So my math was correct for the stage ending at lap 60, but the stage does not end at lap 60.
Oh,
the stage
no,
ends
it's
at lap
65.
65. Yeah.
Oh, it's 65?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 65.
Ooh, man, I only planned to go to 60. Hey.
Well, you've got too much fuel, so you're gold.
So interesting strategy here by Jonathan Cogswell. I would
What's that
assume
is?
he's not going to be able to make it to the end of the stage on fuel. So is this just a strategy ploy to try and trap as many drivers a lap down here as possible?
You bet.
You'd be really smart to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
You got the stage coming up, and realistically, you're gonna keep those guys lock the lap down out of that.
I believe we had a speeding penalty during that cycle of pit stops. Brandon Cooper, I believe, was hit with a speeding penalty. Lengthy stay on pit road for the 54, and he is now 2 laps down. Christian Roos, Brock Whitehead, Jeffrey Kleinsma, Rylan Facinato also 1 lap down each. And Alex Heller -9, but he's still on pit road getting some damage repaired on his Toyota.
That delayed green is painful. Guess why? I was a lucky dog. Delaying that green means I still have to serve a drop to the end of line penalty with all of the cars that got their wave by.
I'm sorry, did you just admit that you're going to break the rules on live broadcast?
I did not.
That you're now not going to.
I did not.
Hey, did you know that you could use promo code TPJ at Reaper Apparel for 10%?
Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Unapproved sponsor. Get him out of here.
I have been staring at Tom's back bumper for 5 laps. That's all I can read.
Save that advertising for your OnlyFans. So looks like with the wave around race cars, we've got 15 drivers that will be on the lead lap here for this restart. That will be with...
Matt Rod's out here saying the promo code to all the drivers in the server as well. He's really reading Tom Bourne's.
he gets a kickback of everything that's sold, I guess. Gonna be about 14 laps to go here in this stage when we go back green.
You're a 60-lap race. I mean, we've got to keep ourselves entertained and mentally stimulated during these caution periods.
And so we read advertisements on back bumpers.
I mean, look.
Actually, I think it'd be behind.
Could be worse. Could be a Golden Corral advertisement.
Oh, no, please, no. I'm hungry enough as it is.
I'm not making top 10.
Don't tempt me with a good time at a buffet. I'm not gonna lie, up until 3 years ago, I didn't know Golden Corral was a buffet.
Really?
Yeah. No, when I went down to Anthony's wedding for after pictures, like, we're going to Golden Corral if you want to meet us there. It's like, okay, walk in. Ah, this is a buffet. Didn't know.
Weren't you mesmerized by the chocolate fountain that a kid has obviously put his hand into?
They didn't have a chocolate fountain there. Or if they did, I didn't notice it.
It downgraded. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Jonathan Cogswell, 40-lap-old tires on that number 27 Ford Mustang. Gets us back under the green here.
Hey, Grandma, I need you to hit the gas.
Whitehead's going to swing to the outside
Grandma did
here
not
for
get
the race lead.
Grandma did not get her driver's license revoked, only for you to tell her to hit the gas.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Your back tire's coated in Vaseline? My God, man.
How about Patrick McQuaid? Up here in the 3rd position. He was the driver that went around off of turn 4, bringing out the first yellow. Good recovery for him. Been Mr. Consistency this season. Been up in the podium multiple times here. Oh, Chris Reese saved it!
Oh, 15. Saved it too.
I don't know how, but we do have somebody around back there.
I don't blame him for throwing that because he was coming right back across the track and about to end people's dreams tonight.
Wow, I don't know how he kept that 62
Did a great job.
pointed back in the right direction. They were 4 wide for a moment as he was trying to save that thing.
Wow.
Take a look at this. This could be save of the year. I mean, this is multi-car wreck taking place right here, and it didn't happen. As maybe a little gap whack there. Matt Davis, look how that car. I mean, that's 90 degrees the wrong way. Jeffrey Kleinsma is the car that actually goes up and hits the outside wall, bringing out the yellow, but how Chris Reese was able to keep that thing from going completely around and actually didn't lose much in terms of track position or spots either.
Nope.
And the 15
was
kind of an innocent bystander in this because he managed to avoid the original part of it and then got hit with one of the bumps and spun the rear tires back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was down on the apron. He was just ahead of me. He was down the apron and just hit the bump side with a little bit of steering wheel angle in it. It started to come around, and there was no hope of saving it from there. He had a really good whack at saving it.
It's the worst feeling possible when you start spinning back there and you get all the way down there because you think you've got it saved, and then the bumps remind you that you're really just a passenger in your own car.
Bumps have not been the friend of Jeffrey Kleinsma here in the last 20 laps or so. Hit that bump coming off of pit road that brought out the second caution, and then the bumps down there in the apron, shooting him back up to the outside wall on the back straightaway. Made some fairly good contact with the right front fender, but I think he should be able to get that buffed out a bit there and continue on.
Yep.
But the guys who are loving this are the guys who are trapped a lap down, and they know that we're not going to be getting, more than likely, the whole field's not going to be coming down for another pit stop. So waiver rounds are out of the question. You need to kind of stock up on free passes as much as you can here.
Yeah, you got that guaranteed
now
caution coming
becomes-
out at lap 65 as well.
Well, it now becomes a strategy race. Now you start connecting the dots. You know that you're going to get guaranteed cautions at lap 65 and at lap 130. How do you make sure that you're 1 lap down when that happened? Now, there is one spot for the lucky dog at lap 65, so it is critical for those guys to go for track position right now. Maybe burning a set of tires right here to get the lucky dog is actually the correct way to go racing, because you'll effectively be throwing away that set of tires. There's nothing you can do about that. But that gets you back on the lead lap, and it gets you the opportunity to pit on the stage caution. I expect the most important battle in the field is going to be for 17th to 19th. Whoever gets 17th at the end of this stage, it recovers their night, and they get that one back.
Ruse, Fasciato, and Kleinsma, they are really just racing for P17. And it sounds weird, but, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get back.
You got to do it. 100%. So I don't know, Seth, can you have a look at those guys? Tell us who pit. Who's recently pit? Who's got fresh tires out of those three? Because that is critical to their night.
They're pretty even. Faccianato came to pit road back on lap 45. Lap 46 for Christian Ruse. Kleinsma's on pit road right now, but I would assume a good portion of that is coming down to repair that right front fender.
Damage. So it's a two-horse race, effectively. So they're effectively same lap in terms of the pit stop. So it is going to be on between them, and it is critical for those guys. And the other problem is, have a look at the pack that they're going to be in and around as well. This field, the fastest cars in the field are not at the front right now. Trey Whitehead's good, but I don't think he's been one of the quickest cars so far tonight. He has a chance to show that in Clean Air, though, and Clean Air could change everything. And Matt, if you bolted tires on, I got bad news for you, buddy.
Yeah, Whitehead right now As you said, it's going to have the clean air advantage, but third place on back, they've got 17-lap fresher tires than he does. So the 77, the 5, the 19, the 31, they could potentially be in the catbird seat here, as we're going to have ourselves about a 9-lap shootout to finish out this first stage. Great launch for Trey Whitehead there. Now it's a matter of those fresher tires behind Cogswell trying to get by him, as he's on 46-lap old Goodyears.
I'm looking for some of the guys who took those new tires behind us and wondering how much ground they're going to be able to make up. And obviously, I think their plan is to stay out of the stage, but it gets my mind thinking. Gets my thinking cap on.
Seth, how much money does Matt right now?
Please don't. I saw you and I was like, man, I really hope he doesn't left hook me.
I'd throw you a price, but he'd have to go airborne in the deal.
We'll work on it. We'll workshop this.
Okay. Peyton Holland trying the top side here against Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell staying doggedly on the bottom. Since you're going around me, you got to take the longer way around.
And the higher side's kind of a blessing and a curse. I've seen some people be able to make it work. I've seen some of them not so much be able to make it work, but it really depends on that car in front of you, or if there's a car in front of you, because that immediately just takes away all the grip you have, and you're going to be beating that outside wall very quickly.
Subka moving into the third spot there. Former teammate Alan Dobbs now in the fourth spot right behind him.
I mean, this is a critical part of this race right here, because this is all about setting yourself up. Those guys who haven't got stage points, Hubka's in a great position to go and pick up a whole bunch. So is Peyton Holland. They've not had the best stages thus far this season, but additionally, finishing this stage in those positions also sets them up to finish and start the next stage in those same spots as well. So it's going to be a really, really interesting for these guys to be out of position. I think he's out of fuel.
Yeah,
remember, he stayed out.
He stayed out. He wasn't going to be able to make it the rest of the way, as Hubka gets the wall right there. But to your point there, Scott, looking at some of these drivers we had up here, important stage for them to at least come away with some points. Hubka and Matt Davies right now in the 4th and 5th positions. As we look at the current playoff standings and we look around that final cut line area, these are two drivers that are in that vicinity. They need every point they can possibly get here in these final 5 races.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And Chris Reese, I think, has got fresh tires on behind as well. I expect him to be quick right here.
The top 10 have kind of settled out. I think it's a kind of a blend of everyone's trying just to keep going on what they have, and also there's no reason to push it if we're that close to a stage.
We got 3 to go on that stage. Yeah, 4 to go, sorry.
That could be wrong.
Trey Whitehead's got that clean air. 2nd and 3rd just all hit the wall off of turn 2 right there, both Holland and Dobbs.
Honestly, if I was a gambling man, which I am, I would debate maybe this lap coming down, throwing 4 on it, putting gas in it, and hope that maybe I can beat the leader out.
You're not gonna. There's no way.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna fall off the lead lap, so it's not
Everyone
worth
that
it.
pit there on that one green flag run, they all lost a lap.
But I'm looking for the guys who put under that last caution. If they did take tires and did take fuel, what they're planning to do on this yellow.
The only lead
I
lap
agree
car
with
that
that.
did
Flipping the
pit
stage.
under that last caution was Tom Bourne. We got a couple
That's
that
smart
also
from
came
him.
down that were a lap down, but he was the only lead lap car that pit under the last yellow.
He lost all that track position, so he had all that clear air right up at the front. He was good all the way back then. So that's smart from him. He knew that he needs to play a little bit of a different hand, put his car in a little bit of a different position. If he's fuel only at this next stop, there's a very good chance that he jumps all the way back up to the front of the field.
Could have a battle for this stage win here. One more lap around, and then the caution will fly. Peyton Holland has reeled in Trey Whitehead. There is about 17 laps difference on tires between these two. Holland got a little tight, though, through the 1st and 2nd corner. That daylight is exactly what Trey Whitehead needed. I don't think Peyton Holland's going to be able to close up the gap here through 3 and 4. So Trey Whitehead coming off of the final corner. Going to see the green and white checkered flag. Trey Whitehead's going to pick up his 3rd stage win of 2025.
Great job to him. Done really, really well.
Peyton Holland, Alan Dobbs, Noah Jackson moved to 4th late with Hupka in 5th. Actually, looks like it might have been close between those two. I'm not sure who got 4th or who got 5th. Matt Davies, Brock Whitehead, Ryan Catalano, Patrick McQuaid, and Matthew Rodriguez scores his first point of the season.
Hey, now I raced Daytona. I scored points.
That's right, you did.
Hey,
Good for you.
still
Good
last.
for you, Matt Rod. Proud of you, buddy. You worked hard for those points.
It
Man,
was so long ago, I forgot about it.
you're the voice I wish I could hear in the mirror.
Unfortunately for Matt Rod, the points came so long ago that his wife's asking for them in the divorce.
Oh,
If you have a voice,
check that paperwork.
if you have a voice coming out of your mirror, you're either insane or you're the evil queen from Snow White. I'm not sure which.
The worst part is, I started this race off by calling out Matt Rod and saying, "Come up here and get me." Now he's saying the same thing back to me.
Oh, it's been the finger up the entire time. You just can't see it.
See, three people in the broadcast booth is better, don't you believe?
I always knew Matt was a 9-finger driver.
Important note about this caution. Let's think about this race at large. We've gone 65 laps. It's taken us 43 minutes to do so. This race is going to be 3 more times that, so we're in for like a 3-hour race here, is worthwhile noting. I did not go to the bathroom before the race. There are going to be other drivers in the field who are in the same boat. So what I'm recommending, I'm going to jump out of this. Okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Don't keep a funnel by your desk?
No, I don't.
Now, see, we ended up broadcasting a race this past Saturday night where they ran, I think it was 160 laps at Daytona. They planned for a situation like that. They had a 5-minute halfway break for people to be able to use the facilities.
It's old like iRace or old leagues on Xbox and kind of the console games where we used to, preference that we were mostly teenagers at the time, but we used to take red flags for pee breaks. Like enough people wanted to pee, we'd just call a red flag and park it all in the back straightaway, and then 5 minutes
weather
later,
in the area.
A part of me wonders if iRacing ever adds back in if they add in red flags, if that spirit may come back, because I would 100% petition for a red flag pee break.
I'm honestly surprised they don't have red flags in iRacing.
I mean, we do have red flags, but it's more or less we go in the paint and we just kind of scribble over the yellow and call it red. 50-50.
It's like Brandon Cooper might be looking to get a wave around, get one of his laps back. Alex Heller
He needs
in
to.
front as well.
There's no worse feeling as a driver when you're, ready to go get your wave around. You pass a bunch of cars that just jumped in the pit lane. You're getting up to the pace car, getting ready to line up. One car in front of you on the lead lap immediately blocks you away from taking it. Even worse, you have a lap to basically plea with them of, hey, can you go down? Like, I really need this. And like I said, I understand you want to lead a lap. Like, I'll lay off a little bit and let you lead a lap. Like, just, tell me what I need to do to make this happen.
$5 McDonald's coupon book.
I think the most I've ever offered someone was like, I think a $25 Applebee's card.
Wow. I'm a cheapskate. You go the distance.
They understandably did not take that because, Applebee's. Never getting that sponsorship, but Applebee's was not enticing enough for them to take.
I gave Applebee's a second try not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was actually good. It was actually good. I don't remember exactly what the dish I got was called, but it had like spicy and dewy sausage in it and everything. My nasal passages cleared out real quick.
It doesn't matter where we are. We've been in New Orleans. We've been in Tennessee. We've been in really everywhere. There's always a Chili's lurking in the distance.
There
and
is.
We always somehow go to it.
And it doesn't matter where it is. I will always drive 2 exits past where it is.
That made me so angry.
I know it did.
There's one turnoff to get on 65, and that's what you missed.
Yep.
Oh.
It wasn't the
Yeah,
first
I'm
time.
over
It won't
here.
be the last. I've got about a half dozen friends that can give you stories of me missing exits as well. So
You couldn't even keep up with the Kia Soul. I was in a rental.
Hey, I GPS'd you into a cemetery too, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Hey, you dropped your phone off a 3rd story balcony. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, I fumbled it.
Green
It was not
flag
recovered. Yeah, Tom just mauled me on this restart. So,
Yeah.
I said a zinger, but I did lose.
Mental game, weak right there on Matt Rod.
Patrick McQuaid, the new race leader here, as second stage goes green, racing to lap 130 for the completion of stage 2 and setting up for the final stage of this race. Chris Hubka, Chris Reese, Trey Whitehead, your top 4 right now. All equal footing in terms of tires, though it does look like a couple of them took 2 tires on this pit stop, while a majority went with 4.
And there is reasons to go that route. By the way, running 65 laps on one set of tires. Let's get some tire data in the air. 60% on the middle of the right front tire. It is big on the tire wear here tonight. So making sure that you have tires at the back end of the run is going to be critical. Look, I think at the moment, we're going to be on the same run plan. We're going to be taking no tires at the middle stage pit stop right here. We're going to be running with 4 sets for the back half of the race. I think that's going to be huge.
Riding on board here with Chris Reese, our Daytona winner, looking up ahead at the top 3. Had that adventurous slide off a turn 2, in which he saved it. Still competitive and looking for his second win on the season.
Restarts are so wild where you have to kind of get everything you can, because when the field spreads out, it's going to be much, much harder.
Yeah. Everyone's packed up at the start of a race. A lot of opportunity. But if you make one mistake, also a lot of opportunity to go backwards as well.
It's part of, like, at least what I've noticed in the next gen car.
Sorry to cut you off. We had some near contact right there between Reese and Jackson as Reese went way up towards the wall.
But no, what's really popped out to me about these next gen cars, I mean, your style of racing has changed so much where it almost turns into a bravery test in some of these corners where you have to dare the guy, just put your nose there and just hope he lifts or gives you the space. And I mean, if he doesn't, I mean, you both could end up in the fence.
Chris Hubka got the lead from Patrick McQuaid for a brief moment. Now Trey Whitehead moves around the outside. He'll go back into clean air. Got the victory back in stage 1, looking maybe for the stage sweep. Stacked up double wide behind him from 3rd place on back. Chris Reese looking low on McQuaid. Noah Jackson in that conversation. There's Tom Bourne, who started this race from the pole position. 3 wide behind them, as that's Alan Dobbs almost up against the wall.
Oh
Trying
boy.
to find a way around Peyton Holland.
Nearly ends up 3 wide, back out just outside the back end of the top 10 as well.
You know, I think Peyton would drive a lot better if he didn't just drive into the fence. You know, I heard that's a little bit detrimental for cars.
M&M's have a hard shell. He'll be fine.
That product placement. We get the crunchy car next week?
We've had the peanut butter car. We've had the pretzel car that I recall. I don't think we've had the crunchy car yet.
I feel like my line is about to be liberated from me. There's a... everyone is not given any room.
Nope. It is very aggressive.
No love for the love bug.
It's all fun and games till love bug starts loving through you. That came out very badly. Don't take that in.
Bug is love, bug is life.
What is this, a bug life? Oh,
yes. Whoa! Peyton Holland up the racetrack there in that 3 wide situation.
God, I beg of you. Give me room.
I gave as much room as I could, brother. I got the call very late in the corner that we were 3 wide. I had no idea he was up there. You couldn't see him from the bottom line.
Eyes. I'm there.
You couldn't see him. You couldn't see him. Oh, it is aggressive right now. It is really, really aggressive. Yeah.
Chris Hubka really squirrely there in the middle.
God, I think you can put that 4 wide. Go and send it.
I think we can. I got the confidence.
I'm glad you have the confidence, because I'm a little bit on the deficit of that.
He has the confidence. Does he have the conviction, though?
Like a Garmin GPS delayed me through here. Misses 3 turns.
I was gonna say, don't give it to me. I'll miss a couple corners.
The patented cold GPS.
I'll just be making circles on the Legends course on the front straightaway.
Don't worry, I'll just talk to my old friend, the Batcave Club channel.
May it rest in peace.
He'll come back one of these days. Like NASCAR Nutty.
Yeah, that never became alive.
Man, there is just so much. Oh my goodness.
Christian Ruse off of turn number 2. Caution gonna fly for the 5th time tonight. Fourth time for cause.
An optimistic move there.
Let's take a look and see what happened to the 14 car. Looks like he got a lot of assistance there from Brandon Cooper.
In my brain, it almost tells me it's a product of the racing that we're having to do where, again, we're having to fight for every single position that we've got, and it's the same thing that we said earlier, where it's, look, I'm going to put my nose there, and I'm going to hope that the guy's going to back out and give me room, or there's a chance we're both going to just die.
The surprising thing for me is the closing rate right there. That is a driver that took the wave around on 35-lap older tires, being able to drive it in on the left rear quarter panel of a driver that had only 13-lap old tires.
I'm going to burn a set right here. I gotta be honest.
I would put them on your car. Don't burn them.
Okay. This is an interesting window in terms of fuel, because we are very, very close to being able to make it. 42 laps from here puts us 3 laps shy of being able to make the stage. So this is a critical window in terms of things. We are just shy.
I fumbled my strategy a little bit. I was texting and driving, and then I I looked down and there's no one in front of me, and everyone pitted.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. Well, I hope your strategy works out.
We're taking a set of tires right here. We're going to run them to the end of the stage, but we're also going to be saving gas. So.
Public service announcement for Matthew Rodriguez, don't text and drive.
I was typing and driving. There's a difference.
Okay.
I wonder if I should pit.
So wait, hold on. So we know what you're doing with one of your fingers this entire race, with the 61s around. If you're typing, how many fingers did you have on the wheel right then?
2.
Okay. Just his thumbs. You could be like Dylan Poteet, drive with your chin. That actually was a thing. He also had the force feedback, so I prayed to God that his car wouldn't like jerk to the right while he was driving with his chin, because that would be
oof. Slap in the face.
Yeah.
Never been throat punched by a direct driver. I mean, there's a first time for everything.
But back on the race, this is actually a really, really important window. I think the biggest thing that's not actually being talked about right now is we are so close to making it on fuel. We are so close to making it on fuel. It's not even funny how close we are to making it on fuel.
Just curious in how the tire difference is going to be between new tires and old tires. Again, we've
had a bunch of those guys that pit right there. Most of the guys right there that pit didn't take tires. I'm one of the first cars who took tires.
I think you're just going to find the same issue that we were having in the All-Star race where, again, just in dirty air, you just had so much trouble making moves.
It's 15 laps, though. What did we run on that set? 14 laps?
Yeah, 14. Yep.
Yeah. So it is reasonable.
That was 14 of the hardest laps that we've ran in a while.
Correct. And that's the big thing, is that everyone was pushing and driving so hard. I just don't think there's a bunch of guys there that thought that through. But the other thing is, we are so close to making it on fuel, it's not even funny. I'll make this on fuel. If there's no caution, I will make it.
The pace is going to back down as the tires wear, so would that then get you safely into the window to be able to make it?
Well, I think the other thing is the happens to be the amount of draft we're going to be in from here on. I'm going to have the ability to put the foot to the floor and burn guys in terms of the tire web. But I was already starting to get to the point whereby guys were burning their front right tires off. There's a bunch. I can tell you, there's a bunch of cars in this queue that I already had better tires than at that point in the run, and now I've got fresh tires as well. So I was
sensing some restart news about to happen.
Yeah, I get the feeling that's also going to happen as well. This is going to be a tricky little period of the race right here because you need to save fuel.
Noah Jackson chooses the outside line here for this restart. He is the control car. Rolls through the zone, gets himself a really nice restart. He'll clear Trey Whitehead, who will move into second. Brock Whitehead trying to give his brother a push there to get them clear of Alan Dobbs for second and third. Dobbs will slot back to fourth, under fire from Matt Rod. I did see that little fake dive, that late dive onto pit road there, coming to the 1 degree, just in case you were wondering.
I was weighing the pros and cons, so I thought about it. I thought about just taking the black flag and restarting in the rear, but hey, I've made my bed. And it looks. I'm looking behind me. I've got a good enough gap. I'm liking my odds here.
It does look like, despite having the contact there, Brandon Cooper did get the free pass. He is back on the lead lap now after being 2 laps down at the conclusion of the first stage. As battle is on for the lead. Trey Whitehead trying to get back out in front of the 20 of Noah Jackson. Noticed a little bit of damage on that right front fender of our stage 1 winner.
And it's battle for first, side by side. I think Whitehead's going to have the advantage on the bottom here.
They're on equal footing as far as tires right now.
If he really wants to make this move, he could gas it up, enter really hard, and try to slide up in front of the 20 and just hope that the draft ends up stalling the 20 out. But I don't think he's going to try it because there is a good chance you're going to get turned off of that.
Noah Jackson appeared to, back in stage 1, have the better long run car between the two of them. Trey Whitehead got the stage victory because he was able to play really good strategy in terms of the pit road cycling. And of course that timely or untimely caution, depending on which side you were on, that came out in the middle of those green flag pit stops. They're still deadlocked for this top position. And the surprising thing is their 3rd and 4th are not closing up. Normally at a 1.5-mile racetrack, when you're side drafting each other, drawing each other back, that 3rd car in line is able to run right up on you and make it a 3-car fight. They've not really been able to do that.
I mean, Seth, you got to think about it, where there's so much dirty air coming off the lead cars. There's a fence. There's so much dirty air coming off the lead cars. I mean, when they're side by side, you'll really lose that ability to really kind of make gains. Unless you're looking for just an open hole where you can hope and pray that there's just no dirty air coming from.
Been watching my telemetry, seeing Scott coming up through the field there with those fresh tires up to P7.
That took some aggression. That definitely hurt the tires. Definitely took some life out of the tires that I didn't want to have to take. And critically,
you're hurting the tires.
Put some hurt on the fuel
driving good. I'm hurting the tires, so I drove into the fence, and now the car's pulling to the right. Yours sounds a lot more fun than mine does.
You're not the only driver that I've seen hit the wall here since we went back green. Saw Alan Dobbs go up and get the wall coming off of 4. He's got some little crinkle there on the right front fender.
We are gold on fuel. We are gold on fuel. There is no fuel saving actually at the end of this stage. We got about 5 laps excess.
In the All-Star race, both myself and a bunch of guys, we could swear that when we got damage on the right rear, this car drove just a pitch better in dirty air and traffic. It was very weird. Hey, Scott.
Hey, sir.
Oh.
That was not intentional. You swung down at the same time I swung up the side drafter. That was not intentional.
Going to your point there, though, about damage on the right rear, more often than not, that will end up making the car a little bit looser. And having a loose car, the longer the run goes on, might actually help the turnability, at least the longevity of the turnability of the car.
Oh, it looks like we've gotten some additional information for our special correspondent, Tom Bourne, saying that Scott's numbers are off. He failed to elaborate how far they were off, but he said that they were off.
To his view, they're the wrong way around. That's because I'm driving the 61, Tom, not the 16. That is not what I said. That is not what I said, man.
But now
I'm having fun today. You guys having fun?
We're getting to the single file period, and what happened, and at least what my mind is kind of picking up on, look at first and second. Look at Trey Whitehead. Look at Noah Jackson. Jackson's kind of struggling a little bit on tires now, and what worried me about them fighting side by side for so long, Whitehead had the advantage by kind of staying to the bottom. He could choose his own line, choose how much he uses throttle and brake throughout the corner. Noah had to get on the gas a little bit to stay side by side, so he's most likely churned that right front a little bit more than he'd want.
So you're telling me that in a battle, the driver on the outside's actually using up more tire?
Yes, and it's very surprising.
Huh. Yeah, that is surprising, because I would have thought that the car on the inside line would be burning the right front more. And it's Dobbs around out of 4.
No, that's actually really bad.
Caution's going to come out.
That was interesting.
Slid it down there onto the Legends course. Actually, I think he might have actually slid it down onto the bus stop there. Part of the road course configuration for the Roval. 6th caution of the evening, 5th caution for cause. Take a look and see what happened. Dobbs is running up in the top 5. I believe this was a battle for the 4th position, if I'm not mistaken. Dalton McKenney gets a run on him there into the left rear quarter panel, and 35 goes completely around there.
No, probably need to cut him a little bit more of a break getting into him. You probably need to come out more of the gas, but the problem is once the car's sideways like that, it loses a lot of time.
I'm 50-50, and the reason because is I think it may have been a bit of a racing, my definition of a racing deal, but what I'm more or less focused on is the lap. It's lap 95 of 260. I mean, come on, you got to cut some guys some breaks.
100%. That's what I'm thinking. But it's the secondary and the third contact. Like, yeah. I don't think he did throttle up to get back into him, but you need to maybe lift a little bit more, dive back on the brakes, do something to get back at him. Because Alan would have saved that. If the secondary contact is what sent him around. A little bit of nudge, that's racing. But it's the secondary contact that I'm not necessarily all that happy with.
So with the caution out.
I hate everybody in this race.
I was going to say, it looks like
everybody
came
came
down
for
pit
fresh tires.
road,
I was
and
the
then
only
Scott.
one. I hate everyone in this race. Everyone came for fresh tires there because I took tires at the last one because I was like, oh, we're going to go green here. Yeah, ain't going to happen.
Checking my timestamps. Yep, 4 minutes ago. Scott Rankin. I'm having fun. You guys having fun? Fast forward. I hate everybody in this race.
Yeah, I was having a great time. I was
that
just
is why radioactive
exists,
folks.
Swings and roundabouts, eh?
Yes.
The good news is
impressive.
Made in Australia, baby. This race lead proudly made in Australia.
Why aren't you upside down?
Unfortunately,
if he was upside down, then no, I was gonna say that would make him the 16, but I think it would make him the 19.
I think it would make him the 19 or 91, wouldn't it? I don't know.
No, it'd be the 19. Be the 19. He's right. 19.
Can't talk about the roof number because if he was upside down, we'd be able to read the roof number.
You know what's really funny? Is that in the first stage, I was running to lap number 60. In the second stage, I was running to lap 135, not 130.
So you made up for the 5 laps that you were lacking in stage 1.
Yeah, so I was sitting here going, oh, we're really, really tight in fuel, we're really, really tight in fuel. So I was actually saving fuel the whole while I was trying to cruise up into the leaders, which is actually going to go ahead and save me some tire at the same time. There is a benefit to that. But when I came over and said, oh, hang on, the stage is only 130, and said we're good on fuel, everyone that did actually pit under that first stop in that run is actually good on fuel. There is a bunch of guys here who took either right sides or no tires. As I believe Trey Whitehead was right sides. I believe Dalton McKenney, I believe, is no tires.
I think he was fuel only. Yep.
Sorry?
You
took left sides? Oh, you got to even them out.
If
you took right sides in an earlier thing, left sides is probably not a bad call right there.
Now here's the thing I will say. Obviously, a little bit longer to go to the completion of the stage here than we had back at stage 1, but there was 17 lap difference between the tires on Trey Whitehead and the tires on Peyton Holland, and Peyton had a lot of difficulty even getting up to the back bumper of the 23. We'll see. This clean air could be optimal here with 14 lap old tires on the 61. Everybody else coming down and maybe having some 2 tires. To your point, I think there's about 2 or 3 drivers that have only taken fuel on, so nobody really up there with 4 fresh tires. I believe the highest of those drivers, maybe Brock Whitehead in the 7th position.
I'm just curious to see the aggression here and see if it continues or if it just tapers down just a little bit.
I mean, if you only took on 2 tires, do you have enough grip to be able to be aggressive right now?
I mean, it depends. 2 tires can do wonders here, but also that clean air does so much more than you give credit for.
3rd place.
Clean air is king.
Dalton McKenney, Noah Jackson, 3rd position. Chevy versus Toyota. Tom Bourne looking on, trying to go for the sweep here at Charlotte. Won the All-Star race 1 week ago here under the lights in Concord, North Carolina, and now trying to win his second race of the season.
Man's got his groove back. Got that win, locked into the playoffs. I mean,
big for him.
Anything to give you confidence.
Yep.
Oh, mid-pass.
Well,
Looks like someone knocked the fence.
That was Tom Bourne. Clobbered the wall there off of turn 4.
I gassed him up. And
It's the commentator curse. Even from behind the wheel, it still strikes, apparently.
Yeah. Sometimes the commentator is the curse that strikes.
He's in the fence again.
Yeah, it's so tight. When you get into that outside groove, it is so tight. At one point where I got a huge run in that first stage on Dalton McKenney, I got in, he started coming up the track, my car just switched off. And I thought, I'll just be able to mail this, I've got so much grip, car just switched off. Literally, I went from having a car that was turning, I had heaps of room, I was actually going to be able to, half a car width off the wall when I finished the turn up and turn 1. The car just shuts down in terms of its grip.
More cars in the fence out of 2.
That was Matt Davies. Matt Davies in the 32. Yeah, turn 2 has really been one of the worst spots for drivers, getting tight. Whoa, as Chris Reese nearly gets up into Ryan Catalano there. I've seen some drivers go up and brush the wall off of turn 4, but a lot of drivers, All-Star race last week, so far here tonight, car gets super tight and they drive almost straight up into the fence off the second corner.
It's also a difference in passing where, like I said, if you're on worn tires, this is a time when those, hey, I'm going to oversend it on entry to a corner and hope that I can get in front of you by the exit. And just kind of hope that draft takes care of you. That's where that mentality starts to come in where I'm looking at Hubco and I'm like, well, I don't know if I can pass Hubco on speed. Let me just send it on in there and hope I pass it and let draft do my work.
Yeah, you got to search around the racetrack. This is the difficult part of the racetrack. Early on, we're starting to see the track transition back to more of a single line groove. Early on, you would have noticed cars in both lanes. What happens is as the rubber gets laid down up there, the track actually gets stickier. More rubber. What happens is a whole bunch of gaps between the stones on the racetrack. Asphalt stones, you would have seen it driving down the road. Gaps in the pavement. Little gaps in between the stones. What happens is the race goes on, little bits of pieces of the tire, they bite into those stones, and the rubber starts feeding into those little gaps between the stones. That means you get a more contact patch of the tire directly in contact and biting into something. Rubber on rubber, great for grip. The problem is a NASCAR needs a little bit of looseness in the rear end to actually be able to swing around on the throttle. Problem is, as more rubber gets laid down that top groove, you get more grip, not less. Racetrack becomes quicker. You actually cannot make the car stick, and it becomes more of a single groove racetrack, which means the longer this goes on, the more important track position becomes.
We are just 105 laps into this 260 lap race. I am already sweating like a pig. I don't know about you. I need more fans.
To your point there, Scott, as well about carrying more speed into the corner. More speed means more heat built up in that right front tire as well, which just exacerbates that tight sensation off of a corner.
32 almost got turned, saved it. Patrick McQuaid just a little bit. That's a free spot. I'll take that. But I am just impressed he saved that car. It was a good bit sideways.
See if we can quickly cut back and see what happened there with Matt Davies. Another great save here as there he is. Up, little contact with the nose of Brandon Cooper. Manages to keep that thing going. And we stay under green for the time being here. Davies going to lose a ton of track position, though, with that contact. He was around the 11th position at the time. This drifts him all the way back now to 16th. Not quite, but close to the tail end of the lead lap.
See, that next part is the part that adds insult to injury, which is, congratulations, you saved the car. Unfortunately, you've just made your rear tires and probably your right front tire very, very angry. Because, well, I mean, you had to get on the gas to avoid hitting anything. Congratulations, you managed to achieve that, but now they're overheated. You gotta spend the next 5-10 laps trying to cool them down if you have not just permanently drained them of any grip.
Trying to take a look here at the nose of the 54 of Brandon Cooper. Saw him get into the back of Matt Davies as he was saving it, and I go back to the Michigan race. Noah Jackson had damage in the early portion of that one where around the Toyota logo the nose was kind of pushed in, and when we talked to him about that later on after he was in victory lane. He said, I didn't know what exactly was going on with the car. I didn't know that was what I was dealing with, was that damage on the nose. It looks like slightly similar, maybe not quite as deep a dent, but it almost looks like there is a bit of a U-shaped dent around the Camry logo here on this 54. If that was affecting Noah Jackson on a 2-mile racetrack like Michigan, you gotta think that's affecting the handling of this race car here tonight at the 1.5-mile Charlotte.
Well, the biggest difference is that the speeds at Michigan are actually a lot higher. So yes, it will have more of an effect from that standpoint at Michigan. But there's less racetrack to work with here. The groove's a little bit narrow. You need that downforce just a little bit more. So there's aspects of both, and they are both definitely relevant. It's just a completely different style of race car here. It depends how much you lean on the front splitter, and I believe we are leaning on that front splitter a lot more right here. So tricky part for him, he's just going to make sure he gets to the end of the stage, gets that race car repaired, but overtaking and bringing his way back through this one is going to be really, really difficult for the rest of the race. So if he can pick off some spots, maybe cool the right front off, do whatever he can do to keep himself in contention, it'll be critical to him for the rest of the night.
Stage is going to be interesting. I could see different strategies emerging from here.
Amazing. It is really, really good, the number of different strategies we've got out here.
Got a good
There's
battle
guys
going.
who can... Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Man, I'm shooting the flies back here. Go ahead.
Got a good battle going on here for the 7th spot. A couple of red, white, and blue Chevrolets. That's Chris Reese on the bottom, Tom Bourne on the top. A couple of former winners on the season. Daytona winner in Reese, Dover winner in Tom Bourne. Mixing it up here in the latter half of the top 10. Noah Jackson looking on in the 20 car. He's been up front here tonight, but currently mired back in traffic. Mentioned this is the home stretch of the regular season. After tonight, only 4 more races, and we put the playoff grid together. Next week, we're at the home to the Yard of Bricks, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Nashville Super Speedway, where Matt Rod will hopefully stay away from the funnel cakes, next on tap.
Look, they were really good.
They in 100-degree heat, I'm sure they were. Road America to close out the month of July, our final road course race of the regular season, and then we cap things off. Wild card race, season finale for the regular season at the Daytona International Speedway, the place that started it all. Chris Reese took the checkered flag, locked himself a playoff spot in the season opener. We return to that hallowed ground to close out the regular season and determine who are going to officially be those drivers that will battle in this season's chase for the championship.
I think a lot of that picture has already played itself out.
Yes.
If you're outside of that championship picture, you got to win. And that puts a little bit more stress than some of these guys would have liked on Daytona, unfortunately. You know, it also means that Road America, you got to actually show up at Road America and have a great race at Road America. It doesn't have to be a good race at this point. I think if you're outside, you got to have a great race at Road America. So that actually becomes one that putting a lot of practice into becomes relevant. So
Scott may turn Road America into Road Australia if we give him a chance here.
The only 2 factors that kind of maybe change the scenario of whether you are in a must-win situation or not, if you're around that cut line, is no more Kyle Holden, no more DJ Daniels taking a playoff spot. So that does kind of move the cut line down a little bit, and maybe some drivers that were on the outside looking in that would have found themselves in a must-win situation, now they find themselves maybe in that 16th seed trying to preserve it here for these final 4 races.
I think Kyle Holden's already effectively been removed from those standings. You know, the adjustment is DJ Daniels no longer being in and around that. So he will make an adjustment. Anyone that's around that cut line now will make that adjustment. They'll already be aware of that. I believe the graphics will already sort of be showing it, but there'll be a couple guys back there. I think Ryan Catalano is starting to come to... He's driving really, really well at the moment, is Catalano. He's doing a great job. He's improved significantly since the start of the season. Start of the season, he wasn't even in... I wouldn't have put him inside that top 10, but he's now inside that top 10 week in, week out. So, you know, whereas McQuaid maybe started a touch higher and has made progress, I think Catalano is one of the cars deeper in the field that's made progress. I think that's relevant heading into the playoffs, is that he's now probably a contender. There's a couple guys that'll be a little bit annoyed to miss out. I think Jeff Kleinsman's been really, really unlucky. I think he should be a little bit closer. You know, I don't know if there's anyone else that's catching your eye at the moment, Seth.
I mean, as I'm looking
realistically, Trey Whitehead should have won a race.
As I'm looking at it right now, just trying to do the quick math in my head of those that have won that are locked in, those that are currently around the point spots. I think Kleinsma's in on points right now. Catalano, I think, is pretty safe on points as well. I think the 3, maybe 4 drivers we'll probably be talking about here in these final 4 races. Matt Davies, Chris Hubka, Rylan Faccianato, and maybe, just maybe, Chris Roberge. We haven't seen Roberge for the last couple of weeks, but he's down there around that cut line now as well. Those might be the 4 that are going to settle it out for maybe the last couple of spots here in the playoffs. That is, again, provided we don't have another different winner go to victory lane in these final 5 races of the regular season. If we have multi-winners that have already been to victory lane that doesn't shift that cut line, then those drivers, I think, are going to be the ones battling out for those final spots. Just saw a lead change there as Alan Dobbs goes to the point, 6-time winner on the season. About 9.5 laps to go here in stage number 2.
Whole field's pretty well spread out. I mean, everyone's kind of following their own pace right now. Like, I know I have enough to make it to the checker. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, my fuel numbers have been way off here tonight. Yeah, I got it majorly wrong.
Oh, right. I'm sure Tom will be ecstatic to hear that his calculations were right.
Brock Whitehead working his way forward. Just got by Chris Reese to move into 6th. Now, Reese going to battle back here alongside. Ooh, near contact heading into turn 1. As Reese tries to pinch Whitehead down. Now they close in on Trey Whitehead as well. 3-car fight for the 5th position. Oh, and Reese goes around! Ooh. Off the nose of Brock Whitehead. Back up the track, hangs onto it, but he clobbered the inside wall with that right rear.
That's not stage.
Oh, now it's going to become the guess of, do you come down, take tires, hope for the best, and see if you can play the stage?
Yeah, now you can flip the stage, as you were talking about, Matt, and not lose a lap.
Or do you plan to stay out and battle for the stage and hope that new tires can't catch you and that you can get a good enough jump to take advantage of it? And obviously, you'll take the hit for the stage, obviously, but you got the points.
Well, that's just dug me out of a huge hole. I remember how I was saying I thought I had the fuel numbers correct? Did not. So 82 to 130 does not math. That is 48 laps. And I needed to be saved. If I'd have saved a lot more, I'd be fine. I wouldn't have had to lift off. But I was pressing on as if I didn't need to pit right there. So, and then finally recognized it.
You had them correct-ish.
Everyone's in a really unique position. I mean, do you go for stage points or do you go for flipping the stage?
I think flipping the stage because I want track position for that final stage.
Like, but again, even if these guys, I mean, it comes to times where it's like, hey, do I risk it?
I think the smart bet is to flip the stage. Like if you have a win and you're in, you flip the stage. If you are out of fuel, you flip the stage. There is one car on the field that is out of fuel. We will not mention his number.
Okay. Like Christian Rue's got the free pass. 18 drivers will be on the lead lap when we go back green. And if what Matt Rudd told us is true about having that right rear damage, maybe making the car drive a little bit better, it's like Chris Reese is going to have the best driving car in the field from here on out.
Very specific. Right front, plows. Right rear, man, we turn.
Even left rear might help it turn, to be honest.
If you get left rear damage, you've done something wrong. That's it. You've gotten that damage, and you most likely deserve that damage in some shape or form.
Interesting to note, pitting at that stage, leader goes to 11th. So there was 10 cars that stayed out there. So if you were towards the front, so myself, Trey, Chris Hubka, Tom Bourne. Now the critical factor is how bent is Tom's car, because you can get unrepairable damage on these cars. And I have a sneaking suspicion Tom is recovering from that. And if he is, there may not be a whole lot he can do. And remember, he's struggled in traffic. He'd been really, really good. When Tom gets to clean air, gold. He's one of the quickest cars in the field. I would hesitate to say that once he does get clean air, in fact, he might be the best car in the field, but we don't have enough metric data. Like, really, all we have is last week's All-Star race to run that off. But he is struggling in traffic. Struggling in traffic.
I'm not rightly sure that car is broken, though, because after he clobbered the wall a couple of times there, he was able to hold pretty good pace in a side-by-side battle with Chris Reese for about 3 to 5 laps. So I think the pace is still there. He did spend a little extra time on pit road, more than likely repairing some of that right side damage, but I think he is still going to be up to speed here, as he's going to restart, it looks like, back in the 13th position. Top 10 drivers all stayed out. They'll look to finish out these final 4 laps in this stage on 30-lap-old Goodyears. Dobbs looking for his 12th stage win on the season. Ryan Catalano up here looking for his first. Dalton McKenney going to restart in 3rd place. Dalton's looking for his 3rd stage win, and Brock Whitehead is going to complete the top 4. He's looking for his first stage victory of the season. Noah Jackson, Peyton Holland, Patrick McQuaid, Brandon Cooper, Matt Davies, and Chris Reese, the 10 drivers that elect to stay out here. Trying to see if we can get themselves some stage points at the conclusion, as here we go. 4-lap shootout to close out stage 2.
Hey, Scott, I'm not sure how it is in Australia, but the gas pedal's on the right.
I literally looked away at something rising green flag first, so that's on me. You missed that one, so. Oh, Tom just got the outside ball. Yeah.
Top 3 positions get settled out. Catalano into 2nd, McKenney to 3rd, battle for 4th. Jackson looking low on Brock Whitehead. Patrick McQuaid, Peyton Holland looking on. Peyton finishing 2nd in the first stage, and the caution is out.
Yeah, Tom, that was a very optimistic move.
That was not a move that was on.
Chris Reese also involved a lot of damage on that right front of our All-Star race winner.
He's done.
Oh.
He is done.
Well, we got to think, if you're a guy who stayed out for stage points, you are loving life right now.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, maybe if you're not in 9th or 10th, but the guys who are... Oh. I'd say we have to watch that replay back, but...
I think that's stage. That should be stage, because stage will be at the conclusion of this lap right here. Oh, sorry, it'll be the conclusion of lap 130, which is next lap. So it's close enough.
Most likely, right here, sure. Most likely they'll give stage at the moment of caution, as opposed to at the end of this lap. Just in case guys pit right now, we're not going to lose that on stage.
Oh boy, that was tough.
Well, Tom Boren already locked into the playoffs with that win in the All-Star race last week, was trying to build off of that. Mentioned to us in Victory Lane last week that loves this racetrack. Also brings up the question, did he ever send you that picture of him doing the shoey?
I did not get nothing. Yeah, we're going to have to decline him that race victory for no shoey picture.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. He's got a week. We'll give him a week. I'm about to get a message from Tom, I would guarantee you.
So the drivers that flipped the stage now inherit the track position. Trey Whitehead, Scott Rankin, Matthew Rodriguez, Chris Hupka, Jonathan Cogswell amongst those drivers. Alan Dobbs, who will pick up his 12th stage win of the season. Going to be the first one off of pit road with fresh tires. Going to restart in 6th, I believe. Well, I believe that there was no driver that got the free pass to get back on the lead lap.
There was Kleinsma.
Oh, Kleinsma was a lap down. Okay.
Kleinsma was a lap down. If he was a lap down, he's come back to the lead lap here. He got the lucky dog.
Okay. Yep. So then he was the free pass driver. We'll have 18 drivers on the lead lap. Chris Reese extended stay on pit road. More damage repaired after being involved in the last 2 cautions. And he is right now in the 19th position. One of 3 drivers still running the off the lead lap. Rylan Facinato -2. Alex Heller -17. Got one of the 18 laps back on a waiver round, but has not been able to be the beneficiary of any future lucky dogs.
And like I said, some of these guys who did come in and tried to flip the stage, they gave me an interesting thought of, hey, coming down pit road just to top off fuel to make sure we're still on that same fuel strategy as everyone else. I find it very unlikely anyone's actually burnt a whole nother set of tires over 3 laps.
How many you got left? How many you got left? 3?
I got 3.
You got 3 sets left? Okay, cool. So we got 4 sets for this stage, basically. And I think the whole field's on that strategy. We've just used them in different ways. Worthwhile noting from here, it is 3 stops to the end of the race for 40, 80, 120, basically, to get you home. So that is going to be interesting.
If we end up getting some cautions, the timing of those yellows could make things very interesting in terms of strategy for tires or track position.
It may be worthwhile banking a set and taking 1 fuel run here where you don't take tires. And it might actually be that last set. Because it will be a splash and dash. It'll be like a 8-lap dash at the end, basically.
So Trey Whitehead took the first stage, Alan Dobbs the second stage. It will be Whitehead who'll get us back under green for our 3rd and final stage. Running to the checkers, seeing who's going to take tonight's race. Here on the Top It Off Hot Sauce 390.
Sounds like there may have been some contact there in the back.
Yeah, it's something to do with the number 18 car. And we've got a new driver to the league here tonight too, I believe is by the name of Alex.
Alex Heller, who's actually driving the race car formerly driven by Dizzy Carter at the beginning of the season.
Fun name.
When Jeremy Richmond showed up and won a race at the start of the season, what happened to that guy?
I don't know. I think he won Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was the race that I was actually not here for.
Yeah. One of them fuel strategy too.
Wadded up here. Ooh, wow. Catalano, brave move to try and tuck in between Alan Dobbs and Dalton McKinney and almost got shipped up the racetrack for his troubles there in 3 and 4. Now a little bump to Jonathan Cogswell down the D-shaped front straightaway. Bit treacherous to do that, especially on this particular racetrack's front straightaway, because you're not really going straight. You're continually turning that car to the left.
Major Rankin going up the outside. He didn't catch the fence. Wow. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, well, Trey's backing it down and trying to save his tires right now. So I thought we need to lift the pace of this race just a little bit and put some pressure on him. Basically. That's what we're trying to do with this one. This is all about just putting him in a position he doesn't want to be in.
Oh!
And I got some clear air for myself at the same time.
Had a couple of cars get the wall back there around 7th place. Catalano and Jackson brushing the wall off of turn 2. Seen a lot of drivers play some strategy here tonight, coming down pit road and topping off the fuel tank. Tonight's sponsor, Top It Off Hot Sauce. Turn up the heat with Top It Off Hot Sauce, uniquely handcrafted sauces and seasonings that pack revved up flavor and heat. Find your flavor at topitoffsauce.com and follow them on Facebook. Apropos, the music we've had for our starting soon here, these last 2 events, both the All-Star race and here at the points paying race at Charlotte, aptly titled Revved Up.
Did they give us a promo code?
No promo code.
Huh.
If there was there, you would have read it off the back bumper of the 92.
Yeah, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. It was shiny though.
Ryan Catalano, come speak to us. We will take promo codes for hot sauce. I have a feeling Trey White had 7 fuel.
I wouldn't doubt it.
because there is a window where you make this a two-stopper.
I think it's just a little bit bold to plan on that, especially when we have plenty of cautions yet to play out.
Riding on board here with the 23 of Trey Whitehead. Looking back to the battle for third. Alan Dobbs on those fresh tires, working his way up into the top three.
Quite remarkably, this is a spot I don't want to be in. Because you're having to burn more tire to stay on the outside, as opposed to the nicer, friendlier line on tires, just letting it roll.
Got some battles here or there, but for the most part, the field has gotten themselves pretty single-filed out, so it's like everybody might be of the mentality here of we're kind of chasing the next round of green flag pit stops. We'll take the opportunity to make passes if they arise, but maybe don't want to put ourselves in a compromised position while doing so.
It's just a battle of attrition, and you have a mental picture of what you've got in your head, like what your car has, I mean, the estimated tire life, how hot they are, I mean, what theoretically my next pit stop's going to be, but I mean, you want to maintain those, you want to hoard them as much as possible and say, hey, you know, if we do end up getting a long green flag run, or hey, if we do have a short yellow flag, I can kind of run through my head of figuring, oh, okay, I'm going to stay out, or hey, my strategy needs this to make it work.
I gotta ask both of you guys here as well, and you can answer like personally, and maybe what you might think the mentality of the rest of the field is going to be as well. You know, we ended up seeing the green flag pit stops back there in the first stage. Some drivers trying to utilize the possibility of the undercut to get them good track position setting up for stage 2. Caution comes out right in the middle of it, and a number of drivers scramble with the wave around to get that track position back. Does that scare off any drivers from trying that same strategy here if we end up having green flag pit stop rounds in stage 3?
At least for me, in that regard, I'm looking at it like this, where that's always going to be a risk of taking it, but I more or less view the undercut, at least in my scenario, of look, if I'm stuck in traffic with a bunch of guys that I'm having trouble passing, you know, just getting mauled by, I would rather undercut, take the open air and fresh tires while I've got it, and just hope that later on when those other guys come to pit, maybe they get stuck in traffic, maybe they're just a little bit unlucky. So I've got that little bit of buffer.
It's not easy. I think this is not necessarily a race of speed. I think this is a race of discipline. Because the biggest thing is you gotta really look after the cars, and I think Trey actually might have just got the fence right there, so that's a little bit of a discipline sticker. Remarkably, discipline's generally one of my worst attributes. You get sucked into the racing battle, then you drive your way into that instead of trying to think about what you're trying to do with the race car. When I'm thinking about what I'm doing with the race car, I drive my best races each and every time. When I'm sucking in to what the other guy is doing, I have horrible days at the office. So right now, there's a little bit of discipline. This is undercut is risky, but if there's guys that can make the fuel, well, you gotta try and drive them off their number by maybe undercutting. And I think there are some guys in this field who can make the fuel.
You gotta also remember the golden rule, which is, look, if I'm not gonna be able to beat them straight up on speed or beat them on their strategy, then realistically, let me roll the dice. Let me try my own strategy. Let me try just evening the odds a little bit and hope it plays in my favor. Because, I mean, what happens if it doesn't work out? I mean, well, you finish probably the same place you're gonna finish beforehand. You know, unless you're running like second or third. But, you know, hey, think about that.
Now with Jackson, saw him have some good long run speed back in stage 1. Longer the run goes on, he's starting to make some good moves here. Now he's cracked back up into the top 5.
Doing a great job. Again,
that was Dobbs, I believe, in the 35.
Got to be thinking about big picture. What is the big picture for Noah Jackson? Is it drive the car hard at the front of the stage? No, he's been one of the better cars on long run pace. So I don't think he needs to do that. I think the problem is the longer the run goes on, it becomes, we've already talked about, you need a little bit more grip up on that top lane. Well, I think the top lane's my prediction for what was going to happen to the top lane were to go away. I don't think we're seeing. I think we're actually seeing that go away. It's actually becoming maybe perhaps a little bit more top line dominant. It's pretty even between the two lanes. but you got to be careful with your throttle discipline whilst you're running up and around there. The big thing will be discipline in terms of what can your run plan is. Because if you're great on tires and you're good on race pace, well, you can go out there and you can run hard. If it doesn't work or you don't think it's going to work because there's a lot of cars up ahead of you, you sit back and you save tires. You've got options. So
every driver in the back of their head has that emergency plan of, hey, we have a caution in the last 10 laps. What's our plan? Which is whatever set we have left in the left on pit road, and we're gonna give it a little bit of fuel, maybe to make the back end lay down a little bit. May the best man win.
See the 23 of Trey Whitehead continuing to surge, running the higher lanes through the corners here, trying to get that clean air to the nose. Staying within about 2.5 tenths of a second from the race lead. Oh, gets the wall again there off of turn 4. Oh, we've been keeping an eye on that battle for third place. It did close up. It's now the gap opened a bit, but that's Dobbs in the 35, McKenney in the 46, who were battling earlier on in this race for 4th position, made some contact that sent Dobbs around. We'll see if that battle closes up, how they race with each other now for what would be P3.
I think Dalton's cutting him a lot of brakes right now because he knows that he owes it. So he probably let him by nice and easily previously. I know he's cutting him some brakes.
That's a really slippery slope. I've done that with guys before, and hey, I've cut them brakes because I may have hit them or turned them. And hey, they expect that to be a new standard, or they expect that courtesy to go a lot further than you're willing to extend it. And just because you showed it to them originally, gives them that mindset that it's going to happen again. I don't know.
Dobbs now moves into 2nd place. Here comes McKenney looking for 3rd as the 23 continues to struggle and drift back. Got the Patrick McQuaid fan club in our YouTube chat. Check in on where the 77's at. He's trying right now to take the 10th position away, and will do so from Peyton Holland. Holland battles back, though, to the right rear quarter panel. Gets a little squirrely in doing so.
So if McQuaid is the Muffler Man, is his fan club the Muffler Fam?
He actually gave them a title when we
we gave them a title. I gave him a title. The Muffler
right.
Mob.
The Muffler Mob. That's what it was. I don't know why I thought it was the Muffler Mafia. And I'm like, that can't be right.
That's better. I like that a lot better. Muffler Mafia. Done. They're not the Muffler Mob anymore. The Muffler Mafia. I like that a lot.
They're the exhaustives! Whoops! Oh, this is fine. Oh, this is less fine.
A little off-roading.
You know, Toyota Camrys are amazing off-road. You probably should go to your local Toyota dealer and find one. Definitely not trying to calm my nerves. I have to believe that I may have incurred some damage from that minor jump.
Perhaps. Take a look at this again in its full glory. Little hop, skip.
Where'd Tom go?
And a jump.
Tom died. Yeah, right. Man, I would do a great many things for another desk fan.
I want to say thank you to Matt Rod for jumping in and being on here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nothing like hearing me ramble like a psycho for 3 hours.
Longest race of the season, and you've been here entertaining me.
Man, I gotta keep myself awake.
Longest race of the season. I think that doesn't get understated. I'm actually really, really glad I took that restroom break earlier.
Yeah,
I feel significantly. I would not have made the end of the race.
But don't worry, I've got my trusty water bottle here in an emergency. No, I would quicker park the car.
Pretty sure in iRacing, you throw the bottle out the window, it doesn't constitute a debris caution.
My cat's gonna look at me and really question life. Like, who adopted me?
It's all fun and games till you find your cat trying to pee in the bottle too.
I had my cat drop a was a plush mouse in my mouth.
Cats always judging. The thing about cats is they always walk around the house staring at you for weird things that you do. If there's something weird going on in your house, cat's gonna be there to watch it. Of that, you can be sure.
They're like the live leak of animals. If there's
taking
beef,
notes.
they are there. So when did we bring up the bird drones?
I'm not even sure how to segue off of that one.
We still have 100 laps left. This is truly an exhausting race. Where, I mean, I looked at the lap counter, I was like, man, you know, I'm getting ready to get up, go stretch my legs, maybe go grab a Twinkie. But no. I got another 100 laps.
I think we're seeing the first of the stops.
Great.
Somebody's going for an undercut. I did just see one car in pit lane. Might be Metler? It's Matt Metler.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Red Bull Holden looking paint scheme there.
There's like 3 Red Bull cars, and I've mistaken all of them.
At least we got Matt Davies and Matt Metler. Yeah, that's huge news.
Unfortunate.
I'm not sure who the other Red Bull car. I know that the 18's a Red Bull car, but I'm trying to.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure out who your other Red Bull car is out there.
Did I just like mistakenly dream up? Oh, caution's out. Car spinning on the front straightaway. It looks like
that's Ryan Catalano.
I almost drove into him trying to look at the number. It is very hard to see.
Catalano was running up, I believe, around the 9th, 10th position.
You got the very mixed reactions out of this where, hey, you got some of the leaders who have been saving tires saying, man, all that just went to waste. And you got the guys in the back of the pack who were like, man, I really need something to kind of change my way or maybe make my day go a little bit better.
Oof. Everyone's on the same fuel strategy here. This is really interesting, actually. That's frustrating because I literally just gave up the lead entering 3 and 4, coming off of 4. We got the yellow, so that's frustrating.
Watch the aerial shot here. The closing rate from the 54 to the 92.
That's not the first time I've seen that 54 getting something tonight, so I wonder if there's going to be people waiting for him after the race.
Yeah, I don't know if he thought he was clear up there behind to tuck in behind the 92, but clearly this aerial shot says no.
Very. I think everyone's spitting. You cannot stay out unless you're the 18 or Metler, who, again, you're kind of forced to stay out here. You need your lap back.
Yeah, you have to take your lap back. You're gonna lose it in 10 laps time.
And Metler's now 3 laps down. Well, actually, it looks like Metler, his trip to pit road may have been unscheduled. It may have been for something more untoward than just a regular pit stop, as he's still on pit lane with damage repair on that machine.
Real things that might change this race is if we get a bunch of cautions here in the next little bit, where you've got to think in the top of your head of, hey, like I said, myself and Scott, we had 3 sets left. I've got 2 sets left now. But you got that left in your mind where, hey, if we run 10, 15 laps down the road and another caution comes out, I've got to make that moral decision, which is, do I think another caution is going to come out and waste another set? Or do I stay out in what I have and risk we go green to the end of the race?
Yeah. I just think we're too far into the stint right there. I'm really curious to see who did and who didn't take tires, because I have a feeling Dobbs didn't take tires. I have a big feeling he's saving a set.
So while we've got the opportunity here under caution.
40 laps from here is 60 from home, another 40s. You know, we still got 2 pit stops here to go.
Yeah, I'm just going to wing it.
I wanted to make this reference here, let Scott in on another Matt Rod story.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
When we saw him going through the infield grass there, this is a man who literally 2 hours before a special event hops in and says to me, hey, do you think you could whip me up a car that looks like a John Deere lawnmower? Seen him go and do a little agricultural landscaping right there. Kind of put me in mind of that. You should have been in a lawnmower looking car tonight.
Well, if Hubka opens up his lawn business again, then I will happily drive the mowers. Fly
Actually,
down to Mexico.
I was actually chatting to a friend of mine. She actually asked me to come down and build a PC, well, design a PC build for her. I'm not putting that together. I'm never building another PC in the history of my life. I'm done with
Maybe you
that. It
don't
was
enjoy
great. It was
getting
good.
stabbed by various things.
No, it's not that. It's putting everything together and then going, why does it not work? And there's 5 actual reasons that it's not working, but you can't discover the 5th one until it's all together and should be working.
See, that's how you know you've entered the expert mode.
Yeah.
if you find all of the issues. That 92 is really hard to see on the lumber side. It looks really cool, but
good news from that. New sponsor logo to go on my cars in the future, which is huge.
Nice.
I was actually sitting there. We were going over final designs for the race car for today. And I was like, I was actually asking her about Australian brands to go on the race car, which is where all those brands came from last night, by the way, Maron.
Mind you, this all took place at 2, 3, 4 a.m.
For you
Matt
guys.
Matt Muir, who's been like on a 48-hour binge of just making paint schemes. Man.
This is like 5 p.m., quarter to 5 p.m. my time. So, you know, good afternoon.
Oh, restart games are already playing.
Alan Dobbs gets us back under the green. He and fellow Toyotas, Noah Jackson, Brock Whitehead, all getting good launches. The Chevy on the bottom. And Dalton McKenney did not get going on that inside line. He'll drift back now to a battle for 3rd as Dobbs goes to the point. Jackson moves to 2nd.
So a little bit of track position will be important here. I think there's a ton of cars who actually didn't take tires. Alan Dobbs did not take tires. It looks like everyone else might have.
Dobbs took 2, it looks like, with the amount of time he spent on pit road.
Okay, that makes
Everybody
a little bit more
else
sense.
looks like they took 4. Top 4 have gotten themselves single filed out. Battle 4th place on back. Big send in there by Dalton McKenney to clear himself on Matt Davies. He'll cross him over after he got tight coming off of 4. Still side by side here for the 5th position.
It is big go time right now, but it's also we got to do a long way on these tires as well. So it's not the end of the go time here. You know, you sort of got to hold back. If you can't get the overtaker, you can't get on someone right now, then you got to be saving. You have to be saving.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, use it if you got it, and if you're not making any gains with it, you need to stop immediately and try to backtrack your last 5 laps.
I got bad news from Matt Rod. He was looking for the white line. There's been a small... Oh, big wreck.
My goodness!
3 wide.
We're on board with that car. Dalton McKenney, who got up there into the fence.
I hate you, Matt. Oh boy, that was wild.
Wow, how did I get up here?
You just got lucky. Right time, right place, right time. This is about to kick off. This is about to kick off in a big way.
Yeah, I'm already accepting my death.
Alan Dobbs,
Well, Dobbs is
fading
the head
back
of
here.
that group on the outside. Yeah, that's the 2 tires already fading.
Oh, he's in the
So we're gonna park Matt up in the outside lane here, so he's got nowhere to go. Get back to his inside, and the inside lane should eventually win out here.
Pretty wide
Go,
here.
Dobbs, go!
All
This may
stacking
end
up
it.
behind that 35 with older tires. Restarted, the leader has drifted back now to 6th. Gonna lose a lot more as there's 4 fresh Goodyears on every other car in the field on the lead lap. Ooh,
Yeah, and
contact back
he's
there,
the one
3
you've
wide.
really got to do something about.
I don't have the information available. Almost makes me wonder with Dobbs going with 2 tires. Was this the case of him being the leader, everybody else doing something different from him, or was this the case that he may have used up one of the extra sets that everybody else still has available, and it's kind of boxed him into a corner where he had to take 2 tires here on this pit stop?
No, it's too far to, yeah, maybe. I mean, that is the other option, really. And the reason that I'm sort of thinking about that being the potential is that I wonder whether or not he's already taken right sides to grab some track position earlier. He's actually taken left sides here. And that was sort of him burning up the left side because he was in, you might be right on that one.
Back up at the front, Noah Jackson, race leader. About 8 car lengths in hand. Back to Brock Whitehead in second. Matt Davies currently in the 3rd position. Jackson looking for back-to-back victories here. Points-paying victories, that is, as he won the last time out at Michigan. And I believe that if he is able to do so, it would be the 4th time this season that a driver has won back-to-back. Alan Dobbs has done it twice. Mark Gonzalez did it back at Darlington, Texas.
See, I hear our pit reporters getting a little bit hungry in pit road.
They are.
They're just waiting for some more action to kick off, and almost did. Davies almost chopped. I think that was not. That was a 40.
McKinney. Don't McKinney. Yep. Yeah. Happened on my outside too.
White bold. I don't know about that one. Oh, we're running each other up now.
4th place. Trey Whitehead almost shoving Dalton McKinney down the back straightaway there, propelling him ahead of Matt Davies, and now runs up on the back of the 32 himself. Ryan Catalano right there as well, involved in a recent caution, fighting his way back up here to the front as he'll look to the inside of Trey Whitehead for 7th. Correction, that actually would be for 6th. Chris Reese, who had a great run going earlier on tonight, he's retired from the race, locked into the playoffs with his win at Daytona. But he'll be finishing out the evening in 21st, another former winner, another super speedway winner this season in Tanner Marr, exited the race very early on, finishing in 22nd. Right now we've got, looks like a total of 18 drivers out on the racetrack right now. 16 of them are on the lead lap. Alex Heller, Matt Mettler on pit road at this point in time as this battle continues. Now for 6th position, Catalano trying to complete the pass around Matt Davies, who appears to be free-falling just a bit now.
Yeah, so he's one of those guys that went out there and drove very, very hard in that opening stanza. I know his right front's basically just gone. So
it's the biggest thing where I've noticed that from Davies in the past 2 to 3 runs that we've gotten. He's been really fast, it almost fires out like a bullet. And then just kind of the desperation in his driving style sets in where, hey, you start falling through the field and you need to make that choice of, hey, what am I going to do next? I'm losing out on tires. I don't have that advantage. And I think that's what's getting him into trouble with a lot of these guys who he is racing so hard. It's kind of a cycle because it gets into a point, and next time you come around them, they're going to race even harder. You're going to burn off your tires quicker, and you're going to drop back farther, and you're going to...
There's a lot more consequences at the back end of the race. So people are going, oh, we've had all these short fire runs, but not actually flicking over and have a look at the sets of tires that they've got left over. I think that's really, really important, is having a look at the sets of tires that you've got actually left. And thinking about how you're going to put together that last... Remember how I was talking about discipline not all that long ago? It is discipline. It's very, very easy when everyone was packed up right there to just chase. And I think you would have seen Matt got on my outside. I just let him go. Well, I'm just not going to... I'm going to save the tire whilst we're all fighting like this, because this is the time where everyone's aggressively burning off that right front tire.
Once here it gets into a cycle. Because I'm riding behind Davies, and I'm just watching him here. He's hitting the wall out of 2 and 4. He's about to pop it again here. He almost popped it again. He's overly sending it in entry because he has to send it on entry to make up for what he's going to lose on exit because the car won't turn. But when he does that, he's ending up plowing on exit because all he's going to do is he's got no more right front grip. He's going to plow into the fence. And it just gets into this cycle where, hey, you're trying to get away from that wall, but you see the guy behind you kind of creeping up on you, and you got to make that choice. You got to make that move, and it's that false sense of urgency that puts you in a really bad spot. And it makes your night even worse once you get damage on that right front.
Yep. Once you get that damage out there, it is a long, long run for the rest of the run.
Trying to ride on board with a couple of these drivers. There was somebody we were on board with earlier. It might have been the 46, but it sounded like when we were riding on board with them, and we saw this a bit last week in the All-Star race, Scott, was drivers trying to get that extra turnability through the center of the corner, having that dirty air, downshifting through the center of the corner.
I've been downshifting the whole race. The car just drives better downshifting. I gotta be honest. It just feels like it drives better whilst downshifting. What it does is engine braking. Now, I'm using a little bit of trail brake as well, but the big thing I notice is that there's an open lane of air right on the bottom. So it's not as evident right now, but watch where Brack Whitehead's gonna enter the corner down here. 3 and 4 is not the best spot for it, but see how there's a lane of air underneath him right now. I get down in this little spot around here where I'm half a car length a lot, little bit of, and there's clean air down to that section of the race car. That's how I'm making the car turn on the bottom behind these guys. Watch when we get down here in a 1 and 2. Watch where they place the car. He's right there. He's on the line, but I'm a fraction lower. That was actually probably the best turn 1 and 2 that Brock Whitehead's run a good while, by the way. So thanks, Brock, for not helping me illustrate a point. But the point is offset. And you only have to be a little bit offset. And that's where probably an IndyCar background for me really, really helps, because that's all I ever did in IndyCar was learn to offset, learn what to do. Learn for the over-under. But you can see as well I'm shifting. We're looking for things. We're watching this time down through 1 and 2. It's really, really evident when the driver misses 1 and 2. See how he misses? There's an open lane of air. I can turn the car. Now I can't. So I'm sort of setting up the corner and focusing on that little window of the corner. You can just see how much issue I have, middle and exit, when he comes back down the track. You got to plan your corners. You don't come into these corners with no... If you come into a corner with no plan, you're always going to feel bad, because the car is going to perform poorly because you're putting it in bad spots.
Top 3 have now all closed up quite a bit. Earlier, it was about 0.6 of a second from Jackson back to Brock Whitehead. It's now only about maybe 0.8 of a second from first back to third. 75 laps to go. We're roughly about, it looks like, 7 laps away when drivers are going to have to start thinking about coming to pit lane here.
About 20. 20 is the maximum you can go on.
I had number as 30. It's 40. You're right. Still wouldn't be able to make it the rest of the way on that pit stop. We'd be about 10 to 15 laps north of what would be needed to make it on the upcoming pit stop here. So not necessarily what we would dub the money stop, but certainly a crucial pit stop to kind of set you up for the latter portion of the race.
Yep, stupidly important. We're all on 2 sets of tires here, so nobody can actually undercut anyone right now. And the reason for that is because if we haven't got the sets of tires, you want to have fresh tires later on in the race. So every lap you go longer right now pushes you deeper into the run.
Everyone's got that last set of tires on their mind where, yeah, it's all grand, fine and dandy. We've got 2 right now, but everyone's almost racing like we've got 1 less set. And you kind of have to, because you're thinking about that last set and what you're going to do with it, because that is your last chance to kind of make your move. Like, if you mess that up, unfortunately, you're pretty much out of it.
Again, going to be interesting to see when we get into that vicinity here. Ooh, contact for second place. Interesting when we start getting into that window of, say, about 60 laps to go. Do we end up seeing anybody try the undercut here? Feels kind of spread out. We've got these little intermittent battles here and there.
That was an intentional wreck attempt from Brock. That's dumb. Well, okay, I'm going to wind that back. I'm actually going to wind that back. That's race driver me getting angry. So remember how I was talking about discipline? This is me getting away from my discipline right now. But that was stupid from Brock. And the reason was I gave him room. I gave him room twice. He showed the lane that he wanted to cover. I have no problem with him wanting to cover. I have no problem with him wanting to block, but he blocked really late twice in a row. Can't do that. You cannot do that. And we've raced each other clean up until this point.
But that's going back to our original point earlier, which is like, look, you're putting the nose in there because you're hoping the other guy will give you room. And that's just kind of the state of how next-gen racing is, again, I may not be faster than you, but I'm braver than you and I got less to lose. So realistically, I'm going to put my nose in there every time and just hope you give me the room, because if you don't, we probably both are going to crash in the next corner.
But yeah, look, it's not intentional reckless. He's just trying to get in there, get me loose, force a caution. Intentional, look, it's close, right? So that's why I'm a little annoyed with it. And the dooring down the back straight, I have no problem with him dooring me all the way down the back straight. That is legal, that is valid, that is him voicing his annoyance with what I did with my race car. That's fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. It was the next corner where I start to have issues.
The guy who has that, like the meme of the guy with the house on fire with the coffee, like everything's fine. This is fine.
Well,
the
guy
thing
Oh,
is,
you're in the fence. It was a 92, and it looks like Trey was Whitehead. They're battling back and forth.
Yeah, Trey was in the wall a little bit earlier in this battle as well. Kind of was riding the wall through 3 and 4 a couple of laps ago. The spirited battle continues.
And the big thing that you kind of have to remind yourself of, if you're in a tire strategy or you find yourself in a hole where it's like, look, everyone else around me has fresher tires, or right now it seems like I've burned off my stuff a little bit too much. It's being able to take that step back and compartmentalize. Saying, hey, I have 200 and, or my apologies, I have about like 65, 70 laps left in this race. Here's what I've got. I pitted on lap X and X. I know I probably burnt up my right front, so what I need to do now is damage control. Look at what you've got, look at the people around you, figure out what they're running, figure out how they're running it, and kind of taper your strategy to it. And you can cool these tires down because, yes, you can wear these tires out quite a bit, but the temperature matters a lot in the next gen. So if you overheat that right front tire, hey, it could be 90%, good to go, but if you overheated it to the point where it's just not turning, you need to have that hindsight to kind of tone it back. Take 5 laps, cool that tire down, reset, and get yourself back going.
A couple of Whitehead Racing Toyotas on pit road. Trey Whitehead and Alan Dobbs going for a bit of the undercut right here.
That's a bold strategy. I will admit, if I was braver, I would try it. It's an interesting strategy.
Alan Dobbs absolutely has to. He cannot wait. Realistically, he's got to pull something because he was on the back foot, right? So now he's sort of playing us all against each other.
Trey Whitehead was up in the wall a couple of times as well, so that might have played into him pitting as early as he did.
It's also running through your head of like, look, if I've worn out tires so much where I'm hitting the wall time and time again, I would rather take that hit on tires and hit on track position, just pit, because I can make up more time on new tires than trying to prevent losing what I had on my current tires. And I may damage the car more than that.
Back from Noah Jackson, the battle for the race lead is on. Into turn 1. Jackson goes right up against the outside wall. Ooh, almost brushes it off of 2. About as close as you can get to the wall without actually making contact there.
Now,
Ross
here comes
is the nose tactic that's used in terms of aerodynamics. Try and change the air on the nose of the car that's following. Get them tight off the corner.
What I want to round back to is, you got to think, our fuel tanks are going up to 13 gallons. That is not a full tank. You can take 2 tires or 4 tires. Depends on how brave you think you are. If you feel like you've saved your left side tires good enough, you can save a lot more time by just taking 2 and going. Taking 4, you're waiting on tires. So are you willing to spare the extra second or 2 it takes to swap those out, as opposed to just 2 and going? Which, at least if you're asking me, I would rather go 4 tires. But if you're back in the pack, you need to make something happen, hey, risk it.
Well, it is no surprise that Alan Dobbs, when he came to pit road, he took on 4. His teammate Trey Whitehead, though, 2 tire pit stop for the 23.
Boy!
I like the 2 tire calls. It's an interesting one. It gives you, like, look, again, you go back to the same point of, if you're on a different strategy, or if you can't beat them straight up on their strategy, you need to change strategies. You need to try something different. That is a definition of just trying something different, hoping that it will pan out.
Pass for the lead. Scott Rankin goes to the point, but keep an eye on the ladder portion of the camera. Right side of your screen, you're going to see that bright green number 54 make an appearance there. Brandon Cooper has been setting some of the fastest lap times here. The latter portion of this run, he and Patrick McQuaid. Cooper's made his way up to third. He is less than a second, make it 0.6 of a second from the race lead.
He is very, very quick. He's done a brilliant job because remember, he was deeper in the field. We're talking about damage on the front of that race car. He has done a brilliant job today. Same for Noah Jackson. You know, he may have lost the lead now, but he has led a lot of laps, and he has run his tires fractionally too hard for them to switch off at the back end of the stint. I want to really put a number on that. Fractionally too hard, right? We are 3 laps to the end of this field, and he has just lost the race lead just now. So he has only just overdone it.
Oh, got a speeding penalty. And that's a killer. You've got to be on the lookout for those where that pit road is just, it is cruel.
Dalton McKinney also on pit road in the 46. And Brandon Cooper, 2-time winner on the season. One of his victories at the Paperclip Short Track of Martinsville. His other one, another D-shaped 1.5-mile racetrack, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, another racetrack where you have to be really, really tiptoeing around on those tires for the long run. And so, obviously, 2 entirely different racetracks. Charlotte, a much more recently paved track than Atlanta, but some of the aspects of what he was able to utilize to get his first win of the season back in Hampton, Georgia, may be able to be applied here tonight in Concord, North Carolina.
There's going to be a big cycle of pit stops. Huge cycle of pit stops.
We got a bunch of them on pit road this time. Catalano, Bourne, Ruse. Noah Jackson just dove from second place. Matt Davies, Peyton Holland all in this lap. Cooper is in. Oh, sliding the tires there.
We got it. We're okay.
Brock Whitehead's going to take the race lead as top 2 hit pit road.
Ooh, man, we almost had a caution. That pit exit is a little bit vicious.
Oh, yeah, that bump. We've seen that bump play its part into cautions both in the All-Star race last week and here earlier on tonight.
55 laps to go when we pit here, too, so we are 10 longer than we can go on fuel.
Well, on the bright side, Seth now has a off-track co-commentator.
Attempted the hot pit.
Well, not only did I speed on entry, I also hit the bump and I lost on it on exit.
Oh,
it was not a good day.
yeah, the undercarriage, the diffuser of that car is gonna be all scraped up. You had that off-road excursion as well in the front straightaway.
Yeah, I will admit, it did not feel right after that off-road excursion. Definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
We saw Cogswell try some interesting strategy, try and trap a number of drivers a lap down back in stage 1.
He's going to have to pit right here, I reckon.
Oh, he might be out of fuel.
He's pitting this time.
Yeah, he's pulling low, making sure in case he does run out of fuel, nobody is behind him. He's going to make it 45 laps here on this run. No way, if he's only able to go 45 laps, that he's going to have anything to stretch it to the conclusion of this race. He'll still find himself 8 laps short if he gets another 45 laps out of it here on this run. Trey Whitehead looks like he's going to inherit the race lead, but remember, on his pit stop, he went with a 2-tire strategy. He's also going to have about 8-lap older tires on those tires he just put on, to the rest of the drivers behind him who have all taken 4.
You got to think if a caution comes out, man, you've just ruined 15,000 pit cycles.
Cogswell in, second place just exchanged. Ranking by McKinney. And there's that 54 of Brandon Cooper. As they make their way around the 18 of Alex Heller. Heller's already picked up a spot on Matt Mettler, who's out of the race. About 20 laps from now, Heller would move up to 18th after the retiring of Matthew Rodriguez.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna radio silent for a bit here, boys. This is a big one. This is gonna be hard to win.
Ah, no worries. I can earn my money for a change. But a lot of interesting strategies here. I mean, you got Trey Whitehead. I'm curious about his strategy because you said he took 2 tires in that last run.
He did, yeah.
And I think it was more out of necessity as opposed to he was actually making a strategy. And he's losing a quite good bit of time to Rankin here. But we also have Dalton McKinney. I think he was also one of the ones who took those 2 tires. The 54 of Brandon Cooper. I mean, he has been in, I think he's hit everything but the snack stand today. But he has been rallying back with what he has. I'm kind of curious if he can continue making that charge forward.
Now, here's a thought, maybe in terms of strategy if you're Trey Whitehead. You've played the strategy of 2 tires to gain this track position. Granted, you're going to be giving some of it up here. You got Rankin on your back bumper, McKinney, Cooper. They're probably going to close in. But is there a scenario when the window opens at 40 to go that you then come to pit road for your final pit stop, get just enough fuel to be able to get to the end, put 4 tires on it, and are banking on the fact there'll be no cautions for the rest of this race?
Like I think in that's a strategy I would pull, but my biggest concern would be that caution coming out, because the moment that caution comes out, you've immediately lost the race.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's say you get 20 laps into that cycle, caution comes out, you got one more sets you can throw on. If you have an extra set, then yeah, I'd take that risk. But if you don't have an extra set, you got to weigh your, if you're someone like McQuaid or Davies who, hey, you're back in P10 and P9, and this could be like the game changer to get you up the field, I would take that risk. There's a good chance that will pay off if everything goes out how the race has been going currently. But if you're someone like Rankin, or if you're like McKinney, or if you're like Cooper, I would hesitate to make that call. It could be a race-winning move, though.
Oh, Trey Whitehead just got the wall there off of 4. As now Dalton McKinney and Brandon Cooper will start closing up on him. This is a good battle for the 3rd position. Thought Cooper might actually be able to blow the doors off McKinney with the pace he was showing, but McKinney's got a pretty good short run car here. Keeps that 54 at bay, at least for the moment. Look at the run there, though, that Cooper's able to get, and that's in part of him running that higher line there off the exit of the corner. It's also him getting a nice toe running in the draft of the 46 down the backstretch.
It's also having knowledge of at least your car and where do you put the air. You may have worn tires, but even with worn tires, I mean, you can hold up a car on brand new tires. You just got to know where to put the car, where to put the kind of where to aero block. Now here is where I think he may give it away. Depends on if the 54 really sends it in here. He gets it to the bottom of the track with the 46 going to come down right and just kind of take the air off that nose. It's not going to hurt him a huge bit, but it's going to be just enough where it takes away that downforce. He just cannot drive off the corner.
A couple of drivers further back there. Their evenings did not start out all that well, but they've done a good job of starting to come back here, put themselves in position for solid top 10 runs, maybe top 5, depending on how this final pit stop shakes out. Ryan Catalano, he was involved in a wreck earlier on this evening. He's now fought his way back up to 6. Patrick McQuaid was the very first caution of the night. He's solidly inside the top 10 in 9th. And Alan Dobbs, who we saw drift through the field as he went with a 2-tire strategy to begin stage 3. He's got 4 good years on there now, and he's been able to make his way up into the 7th spot. We'll see if he's got continued pace to maybe climb further up here in the running order.
I'll admit, the guy I'm really kind of watching here and that I think maybe in the best spot possible has to be Dobbs. I mean, again, he's probably got a set left in the pits. He's on kind of newish tires right now. And he's close enough and far back enough where he can react if one of these top guys make a choice to, do a crack pit strategy, or hey, one of the guys behind him, kind of pull something interesting that he wants to copy.
Good news for him as well. Well, I thought, based off of where he was in relation to the other lead lap cars, I thought he had clean racetrack in front of him, but he's got the 25 of Ryan Catalano in front of him. And there you see, brushes the wall once again there with that right side. Got about another 0.4 of a second back here to Brock Whitehead, who does have 12-lap fresher tires, was one of the last drivers to dive onto pit lane, so Dobbs may lose a couple of spots here. Dobbs was one of the first drivers onto pit road along with Trey Whitehead. They both came to pit lane back around lap 195. Windows open. If you want to make it the rest of the way, you could pit now and have the 40 laps of fuel in the tank to get to the conclusion. Not sure anybody would necessarily go with that strategy, especially drivers that elected to pit late on that last green flag cycle.
I mean, here's the good and bad part for Scott. The good part is that, hey, you've got first take of any strategy that you want to do. The bad news is whatever strategy you pull is immediately what strategy the rest of the field is not going to pull. Because they're going to see that, they're either going to look at you and say, wow, why are you doing that? Or, huh, well, if he's doing that, then I have to do this counter.
Well, we saw back on one of those cautions. He stayed out. The rest of the field all came to pit road. It's always do the opposite of what the leader does. Because if you do what the leader's doing, if you're running in second, guess what? You cycle around, you're still going to be in second. And you're on equal footing. In these type of strategy races, you've got to do the exact opposite of what the driver in front of you, whether it be the leader or whether it be the 5th place, 10th place, doesn't matter. If they're a position ahead of you, in order to be able to leapfrog them, you got to do something different. You can't just ride behind them.
And it finally happened, or at least what I was fearing was going to happen. Cooper's just burnt up his tires trying to get around the 46, where all the 46 had to do is really just kind of maintain your ground, force him to go the long way around, force him to burn his stuff. And unfortunately, it looks like Cooper has done that. And McKenny, he has spent that time. He's managed to cool the tires down a little bit, reset that whole thing. Just take a deep breath and then get right back after it, trying to get the guy in front of you.
Closest battle right now going to be for 7th. Fresher tires in the rearview mirror. Brock Whitehead on the back bumper of Alan Dobbs.
I'm 50-50 on this one. I don't know if McQuaid has fresh enough tires. He has been saving a bit.
He does have older tires than Whitehead. He does have fresher tires than Dobbs, but only about 8-9 lap fresher tires on that 77. Big gap up ahead, big gap behind him, back to Matt Davies, who's currently holding down the 10th position. And looking right now at Trey Whitehead and Alan Dobbs, they're 10 laps out from when they are going to absolutely have to come to pit road here.
Just kind of comparing the last lap here. I'm looking at Dalton McKinney, who pulled a 30.014. Scott, that last lap, a 29.965. Now, if you look behind them, Cooper pulled a 30.087. He is currently running slower than McKinney, so he's really hurt those tires. Trey Whitehead, 30.380. He looks like he's debating a run the pit road, but I think he may be in one of those spots where he is waiting to see if a caution comes out, because if it comes out, he can throw on that final set and make a charge.
Both McKenny and Cooper a little faster than Scott that previous lap, but Scott also was having to deal with getting around the wounded machine of Tom Bourne, our all-star race winner here from last week. McKenny now is going to encounter the 16 as well. Gets up and into the fence.
Man. And Tom's been a trooper tonight. He has been hanging about almost on lead lap, 1 lap down. Just got put a lap down by Scott, but kind of this is one of those race nights where you have to kind of suck up and slog through it, because all it takes is one caution. One caution, maybe get back on the lead lap, and just circumstances change for you. You have a good top 10 night.
Not only that, but I mean, obviously, when you've got the luxury of being locked into the playoffs with a victory, it's not quite as prevalent. But for a lot of these drivers that are hovering around the cut line, you may be running in 15th, but guess what? That pays out more points than 18th. You may be running in 20th, but guess what? That pays out more points than 25th. Every point, every position matters when we get to the home stretch of a regular season, especially if you're battling for maybe that 14th, 15th, 16th seed in the postseason. You've got to stick it out in these super long races, because, as you said, timing of cautions can change your luck. A race of attrition, drivers that you're battling around that final playoff spot. If they run into trouble, you're there to capitalize. Every single position that you gain is maybe a little bit of an insurance in that point bucket that you're going to need when we get to a track as unpredictable as Daytona, where a lot of times you're not necessarily in control of your own fate.
But also, look at it like this. I mean, even if you're having a bad night, there's still things that you can learn from tonight. Even running around as maybe a damaged car or a lap car. I mean, you can learn at least, hey, this guy is doing this in the corners. Maybe this is going to help me in the future. Looking back, it looks like Trey Whitehead is in the pits. Not sure if it's regular scheduled service or if he may have hit something.
I believe this would be regularly scheduled, but he may have gotten hit with a speeding penalty.
Oh, yep.
He had been 35 laps on this run, 30 to go. I believe this was when he was planning on making a pit stop, but the execution was lacking in terms of him getting nailed by the speeding police.
He hit pit entry line at 53. Pit road speed is 45. Now, even if you do speed a couple miles an hour over, you can usually give it back by just slowing down underneath the speed limit for a few seconds, and it will, kind of reset the system. But I mean, if you go over 10 miles an hour, I mean, unfortunately, you just don't have any wiggle room there.
That is effectively Trey Whitehead's opportunity at a good finish. Done and dusted. Won the first stage earlier on tonight. Has pretty much had a top 5 car all evening. He's utilized some strategy to maintain that track position as well. But now, currently looks like he's going to be finishing, well, maybe around the 16th position, depending on what happens here in these final 30 laps as this battle starts to close up once again. Dalton McKenney, Brandon Cooper using every bit of the racetrack and then some off of 4.
I'm liking Kenny's strategy here. And believe it or not, he has been running faster laps than Scott. It's been marginally faster laps, but it's been faster laps. But I'm seeing Brandon's getting another shot at him now.
And if you're Scott, you're hoping that these two guys continue to battle, get alongside each other, side draft each other, stall out the momentum, and be able to open up a gap. Now, in the case here, if Scott pits early, more than likely the 46 to 54, they're going to try to go a little bit further, maybe try and take on less fuel, depending on what the numbers are right now. If Scott tries running long, they're probably going to try the undercut. So they're going to probably do the exact opposite of what the 61 is doing. Is there maybe a margin, a gap that Scott is looking to build here between himself and these two other drivers in second and third, where he would feel comfortable no matter which side of the spectrum is of those drivers doing something different, that no matter what strategy he goes with, he's going to come out on the other side still the race leader?
At least if I was sitting in Scott's seat, I would be looking behind me. I'd be looking at the 46 and 54, and I'd almost be egging them on to go fight. Because the moment that the 54 and the 46 really start battling side by side, it hands it to Scott cleanly. Now again, Dalton is on those older tires, and it kind of makes you think in your mind of, how long are those tires going to hold out? But the main thing is also the intimidation factor. I mean, just being there, McKenney running slightly, even if it's just like a tenth faster than Scott. I mean, just the idea of him staying back there and possibly having the same amount of tires or even as good as the tires, it just gets in the mind. It stays in the mind.
Big send there into 3. Hooks the bottom does Noah Jackson. Can't clear up for that 4th position on Ryan Catalano. They were actually 3 wide when they made their way by Tom Bourne, coming off of 4 a couple of laps ago. Still not clear there as Catalano gets the run off the corner. And Brock Whitehead, who's got the freshest tires of anybody here on this run, has been able to make his way now up to 6th, trying to close in here on make it a 3-man fight for the 4th position. Update on a couple of drivers. Looks like 3 laps ago, Alan Dobbs came to pit road. 2-tire pit stop for the 35. He's trapped a lap down right now in the 14th position.
Worthwhile noting as well, boys, I'll just chime me back in here. 2 hours and 26 minutes we've been in the sim for the race, plus practice, plus qualifying. It is a very, very long night. I can tell you, it is midday here over in Australia. It is the middle of winter, but I closed my window because it was cold outside. I wish I'd kept that thing open. Body temperature's starting to go up.
2.5 hours ain't nothing. Saturday night, we called a 4-hour race.
By the way, I want to say a shout out to our lead commentator for tonight. How many races you now won on NL 2003? I can believe you added to your tally the other night.
57. Yeah, I ended up having a Tuesday night off. Thought, you know what, let's climb in the car. Was basically just there, just hanging out with everybody, and got through some big wrecks. We got about 40 laps away. We were run up inside the lead packs, like, hey, you know what? We might have a shot at this thing. Had a couple of guys that I've known for years, and they stuck with me, and yeah, we brought it home.
What's really catching my attention at the moment is this battle between the 90 and or 92 and the 20. It may
can I point out as well? Go ahead. I can barely hear you. By the way, if you can step closer to your microphone again there.
There we go. Now I'm closer.
Oh, much better.
But no, what's really kind of caught me out here is, I mean, you're getting to the point now where you're not really giving anyone any slack. It looks like 20 may have finally driven off here, but hey, 20 laps to go. You're not giving any slack. Those guys who are maybe trying those, hey, I'm going to dive it into the corner and hope it's going to stick and, you know, leave me the room and I'm going to aero block you. I don't know if those moves are going to work right now. I might be a little more inclined to make you pay for those moves.
If anything, your tires aren't going to be working with you to be able to make those moves.
Oh, McKinney comes down.
Yep, from second place with 18 to go. See if this is a two-tire stop or if we can go for 4 here.
Those are 4.
That's 4. I'd say he's done for the day. Cooper's in. Cooper's in.
Follow the 54. From unofficially now second, was third before McKinney made the dive onto pit road. See if he goes with the same strategy here, 4 tires, or may have overshot. He did.
Oh, he slid through.
Yep, locked him up there from the asphalt to the concrete pit box. Fuel only. And was that an audible? Would he have maybe gone for 2 tires, but because he overshot his pit stall, he called the audible there and went with fuel only to make up for that lost time with the slide?
Well, look, I'll give you the strategy that I was going to run no matter what happened right here. And actually, we're going to catch some traffic, so I'm going to dive in the plane this time by. I was going fuel only as well, and I was actually watching those stops extremely closely.
No,
I'm in the boat if I'd rather
as well.
have 2. I'd rather have 2 than nothing. Give me a semblance of hope.
On pit road, Catalano. Those two were in a spirited battle for the last 10 laps or so. There's Peyton Holland. Looks like Jackson's going to go with right sides. Catalano's going to go with 4. Here comes Scott down to the attention of his crew. Third pit stall. And there is that fuel-only stop that we were told about there. Gas and go. Brock Whitehead inherits the race lead. Oh, wow. It's Catalano. I think he hit the bump.
Oof.
And this changes everything.
Huh. So was he the reason for the caution?
I believe so. I believe he may have hit that bump coming off of pit road.
He hit the bump, but he did not go down. Or he did not come up into the track enough, at least in my mind, to bring out I mean, I guess it did. Huh. But that changes everything. Now you got that kind of thought in the back of your head. Here's a thought process that comes through. Looking at Alan Dobbs, I know he took 4. I know he took tires at last go. He's got tires.
Dobbs took 2.
Oh, okay. So at least he's got tires, but he's on the lead lap. He's someone who can make it work. Look at Brandon Cooper. He took 4. He's on the lead lap. Scott did gas and go. To get any new tires, he's going to have to come back down. Obviously, the whole field's basically a lap down from 5th or from 6th on back. You've got to make that decision of, yes, I want new tires, but I'm going to restart P6. Or, hey, do I want to kind of risk it, start probably P1 after Whitehead and Cogswell pit? Because I cannot imagine that they would not come down and take tires. I mean, they're coming down and takes tires now, but
I got to be honest. I don't know what I got to do to buy some luck. But the good news is I can open that window now. So.
Well, that luck obviously is not Australian made.
Oh man,
be a little
that's
more reliable.
We would have popped back out there with. I mean, Cooper was the only one that was going to be with us, but he slid through. So we're going to have a 3-4 second lead there, and I was literally just cruising to the end. I cannot get lucky on these ovals, and I've been really unlucky on the road courses, and we still somehow won one. So I'm hoping we get it all out of the way before the playoffs.
So the cars that are currently on fresh tires, 54 came back in, took 4 fresh tires. Dobbs, I don't think he came in.
He did
not. No, he didn't.
Time. So he's most likely either out of tires or just, he probably only has the left side left and probably doesn't want to come back down if they're on the left side, which totally understandable. 27 came down, took 4. 71 came down, took 4. And then obviously we'll have Noah Jackson and Dalton McKinney. Oh, McKinney's on pit road.
I think he was the lucky dog. Dalton McKinney was the lucky dog.
If he was a lucky dog, then he's still sitting on pit road. That's surprising.
Not sure what's going on there with the 46.
Unless he got
now he's
damaged.
down in the way.
Yeah, he must have gotten damaged somehow, but either way, still on the lead lap. He can still fight. Noah Jackson will not have the advantage of taking fresh tires. He had to take the wave around, so he's on whatever he's got right now. That also puts McQuaid, Ryan, Peyton, and Davies all back on the lead lap.
For those drivers, anywhere from 3 to 7 laps on their tires.
It's going to be risk it for the biscuit because we got basically 10 laps, a 10-lap shootout to show what you got. So tire saving doesn't really matter anymore. It's how brave are you going to be in the turn one? How much slack are you going to cut a guy? And realistically, I will admit my slack meter is definitely at its minimum here.
Looks like Cogswell may have gone with only 2 tires on his pit stop, so Brock Whitehead's actually the highest running with 4 right now.
This is going to be an interesting restart. The big thing that I'm going to be watching out for is some of the guys on old tires, spinning the tires. That if they were smart, they'd be doing some practice restarts, or they would have been doing practice restarts, or just in second gear pulls on the back straightaway or in front straightaway prior to.
Remember as well, 260 laps in regulation. We may end up having where caution comes out at a certain point late in this race where we get sent into one of potentially 3 overtimes as well. So here we go, green flag and a fly.
He spins him a little bit. Dobbs got a jump, but the 27 and 54, they fired out like a rocket.
Like Dobbs might have tried to anticipate the restart there. Got caught flat-footed. Cogswell will move into second, and Brandon Cooper now on 4 fresh field goods. He's in the 3rd spot.
Here's where we're really going to start seeing gains here in 3 and 4. That's it. That's when you're really going to start seeing the difference. He can shoot it in so much harder, but the 54 makes it work along the long way around.
His race to lose now.
Look at the damage.
He should be comfortable.
Look at the damage on the front of the 71. Brock Whitehead, after he got in the back of Alan Dobbs, he's kept that car clean all night long, but he is crunched up in the grill now. Here comes Cooper with a full head of steam to the outside. Looking for his 3rd win on the season, 2nd at 1.5 miles here.
Tags his left rear, still saves it. Now here's the big question. Can Dobbs actually drive around and can he catch him in time? And is those right side tires enough?
Well, it's right side tires and it's 17 laps on those right side tires. He'd have to have a lot of pace in that race car to be able to close up here on Brandon Cooper, let alone maneuver around it with Cooper having the clean air. Chris
Big
Hupka,
wreck out of 3.
Christian Ruse, Ryan Catalano, Rylan Faccianato is in that as well. At least 4 or 5, maybe a half dozen drivers collected up in this one.
So here's the tricky situation next time. So we had that restart. Everyone got to assess what they have, how much they have, and can it make it work. If you've assessed all that and you realize you're one of those guys who may be on the cusp of making it work, do you take track position or do you go down and take tires and risk driving through the field? Realistically,
You're not going to drive through the field. It's not going to happen.
Realistically, if you do take tires, you do have a chance to drive through the field, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, with cold, or obviously
gonna
with
happen.
dirty air. Either way, a little optimism. But you have a chance to drive through the field. But really, if you're pitting, you're more or less hoping that you're going to have A, enough cautions to buy yourself enough time, and B, you're hoping that those fresh tires, we're going to have, I'd say maybe... Honestly, I'm a bit stumped. Because effectively, if you go for tires, you're not going for a win anymore. You're fighting to get back to where you were. In the All-Star race, we had a similar situation. I ended up taking 4 fresh tires with 13 to go.
Alan Dobbs has got a black flag here.
I drove all the way from, I think, P14 all the way to P5. Which, hey, you can do it in the last few laps, but you've got to be really aggressive with it, and you're opening up the doors to just pretty much contact. So you're going to piss some people off doing this.
Alan Dobbs has got a jump start penalty, because remember, we're using the zone here, and it measures it when the green flag drops. It doesn't measure it at the start-finish line. So because outside lane was ahead at the drop of the green flag, there's a penalty. So Alan Dobbs is going to drop all the way back.
Part of me disagrees with that, because realistically, the control car spun the tires. The control car went on the gas.
Did not spin the tires at all. I did not jump on the gas. I can tell you that for a fact. I waited till the end of the zone because I could see him coming. Yeah, that was no tire spin at all. I just waited.
This is a time where I'd love us having the telemetry and we can actually see the cars.
So it looks like Christian Ruse, who was in the middle of that, is taking his car back behind the wall. Jeffrey Kleinsma, I believe, is the recipient of the lucky dog. We're going to have 11 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green. I believe only one lead lap car was involved in that wreck. No, correction, 2 lead lap cars were involved in that wreck. Chris Hubka and Ryan Catalano. Hubka's going to lose a lap after damage repair here under this caution period. And our top 10 on the lead lap here for what could be the final restart of the night. Brandon Cooper electing the top line here for the restart. Scott Rankin will be second to his inside. Brock Whitehead, Noah Jackson, Jonathan Cogswell, Peyton Holland, Matt Davies, Patrick McQuaid, Alan Dobbs with the EOL to 9th, and Ryan Catalano in 10th. Dalton McKenney, the last driver on the lead lap here, 11 in total. Going to be a 5-lap shootout in regulation to determine tonight's Top It Off Hot Sauce 390 from Charlotte.
I'm not going to lie. I'm questioning the move not to take tires. I mean...
I mean, you've got the chance here that we could go into overtime as well.
Like we've got 5 green flag. We've got 5 green flag laps basically, and then 2 to 3 lap green white checkers. Oh, it didn't go.
Still green as Cooper goes to the point. Whitehead into second, Holland into third. Inside line got stacked up there.
But does Whitehead have anything for Cooper? That's what I'm thinking.
He's got that damage on the front end of his race car when he was into the back of Alan Dobbs on the previous restart, so that can't be helping that car for straight line speed.
But also on top of that, you got to question what's Brock willing to do for a win?
Well, keep an eye on Peyton Holland there as well. He closed up on Trey Whitehead, end of stage 1 for a stage victory, so he's pretty good on the short run. If he can get around the 71, does he have anything for the 54?
Yeah, this exactly plays into Peyton's hand as long as he stops driving himself to the fence. But, I mean, Peyton has always been a driver who he will burn his stuff up within 10 laps. But this is perfect for him because he only has 10 laps.
You're Brandon Cooper. You want these laps to tick away quickly. You want to come off turn 4 and see that white flag in the air to make this thing official. You don't want to have to go into a couple of overtimes, have to defend that race lead. It looks like the battle will be on for second. Peyton Holland gets to the outside of Brock Whitehead. Here comes Patrick McQuaid with a big run as well. 3-car fight for second.
You gotta ask yourself, what are you willing to do for this? That's how badly do you want it?
Oh
That
man, here
depends on
comes
how
Noah
you race this
Jackson
thing.
as well. And you got to get
Brandon
this battle
Cooper.
over with quickly. Every lap you're battling is more time that you're losing to the race leader.
I think Cooper's loving life because he's seeing all of them battle behind him, knowing that they cannot make up a second difference in a lap unless he majorly messes up.
This time off of 4. As Holland clears for second, Cooper's going to see the flag he wanted to see for about the last 10 to 15 laps. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here in this lengthy race at Charlotte.
McQuaid hit the fence. I'd look at the battle for second here, because that's way more entertaining than first.
Half a mile to go here for Brandon Cooper, looking for his 3rd win on the season. Here's the battle off of 4 for second place. Oh, it is tight. It is 3 wide. Holland will get it, and I think McQuaid maybe.
Yes, McQuaid.
Goring gave it to him. 9 thousandths.
Jesus.
Brandon Cooper, his 3rd win on the season, 2nd victory at a mile and a half, a D-shaped quad oval.
Man, I feel for Brock. you went from P3 to
swallowed
P5
up there
in
on
one
that
corner.
final turn, didn't he?
P5 in one corner. My goodness.
Brandon Cooper came into this race in the 17th position in points. He was already locked into the playoffs with his 2 previous victories, but he will now add a 3rd. That'll be some valuable playoff points that he'll accumulate when the standings are reformatted at the conclusion of Daytona. And he begins the celebration here on the front straightaway at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Top it off, Hot Sauce 390 goes to driver 54. Peyton Holland will get his best finish of 2025 in 2nd. And the consistency of Patrick McQuaid continues, another podium finish here down the home stretch of the regular season.
Whew. And he worked for that one. It's called playing the game. And you've got to think, I mean, yeah, there's like 15 different ways that could have ended out differently, but it's keeping yourself in the conversation, keeping yourself in the shot to win.
Toyotas dominate, taking the proverbial checkered flags on the evening. Trey Whitehead with stage 1, Alan Dobbs with stage 2. And stage 3, the completion to Brandon Cooper. As we'll take a look here now at the official finishing results from tonight's race. Noah Jackson, strong car all night long, brings it home in 4th. Brock Whitehead might have had a bit of a tire advantage there late, but that damage on the front end hindered his opportunity at a shot at the win. He'll finish in 5th. Matt Davies, good run there for him. One of those drivers, one of those 4 drivers we're talking about that is hovering around that cut line, maybe just above the cut line to get a playoff spot. 6th for him. Jonathan Cogswell played some strategy, unorthodox strategy, most of the evening, gets 7th. Dalton McKenney brings it home in 8th. Ryan Catalano involved in a couple of wrecks, one of them very late in this one in 9th. And Scott Rankin, we saw have that issue spinning the tires on that final restart. He'll bring it home inside of the top 10. Alan Dobbs finishes last car on the lead lap in 11th place. I believe he had to restart back behind all the lap machines as well with that EOL. Tom Bourne toughs it out for 12th. Our All-Star Race winner, Chris Hubka, also a lap down in 13th with Jeffrey Kleinsma and Trey Wright, the rest of the top 15. Trey, that speeding penalty really killed his race. Rylan Faccianato was the last driver to finish in 16th. Christian Ruse out of the race in 17th with Alex Heller 18th. Matthew Rodriguez, Matt Mettler, the rest of the top 20. And the final drivers that did not reach the conclusion, a couple of former winners on the season, Chris Reese, Tanner Marr, then Johnny Williams and Clifford Corveau complete the 24-car finishing result for tonight's race here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's now going to take us into our FRN post-race wind-down as we get ready to dial up some of our top finishers on the evening here tonight. Let's kick things off with a driver that brings it home in third place. Another podium finish here this season in 2025 for Patrick McQuaid. Hey, Patrick, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, the consistency continues for the 77 team. Another podium finish for you here down the home stretch of this regular season. Saw you kind of mired back between 11th to 13th for a good portion of this one. We saw more and more go pats in our YouTube chat that seemed to spur you on as you continue to climb your way up through the top 10. Eventually, though, bringing it home solidly in the top 3. But the evening didn't start out all that great. You had that spin there off of turn 4. How tough was it with how long this race was to keep toughing it out, eventually be able to bring it home with a solid result?
Honestly, it was mentally tough for sure. Always is. But Charlotte is by far one of my favorite tracks. The right front burns off so quickly, so you really got to take your time and time when it's time to go. But no, after the spin, I was like, I had to reset and just kind of run my own race. And, after dodging that big one at the end, I got really lucky. And then the caution after that, I believe, gave me a chance to take my last set of tires, and it was game on. And luckily, unfortunate for Scott, but that really helped out a lot too. So, but no, I appreciate everyone in the chat as always. But I really, I tried to save my tires as much as possible, but it seemed like every time my tires would fall off, everyone else was still good. So I could not figure it out for the longest time. And I finally found a groove that I could just hit constantly. And, it was tunnel vision from there.
Let me ask you the one question that's burning on my mind, which is, if you had one more restart, if you had one more green, white checkered, do you think you could have got it?
Oh man, I want to say yes. Cooper is very good, and of course Brock and Peyton. Peyton can run qualifying laps like crazy. It's nuts to me. I don't understand it. And then of course Noah was around us, and I don't know, because last season, I got second to DJ Daniel, and it was the same scenario, everyone pushing green, white, checkered and whatnot. But I think I'm better than that now, and so confidently I can say yes. I think I could have got him.
Well, Patrick, a tremendous. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Man, great run here tonight. I mean, we were talking about the consistency. It's been coming, into things over the last few races, and obviously the season's just going phenomenally for you at the moment. Is it anything? I think the biggest thing that I see is that each and every single race, all you're trying to do is just go, I want to just go a little bit better than I went last week, a little bit later than I went last week. And I sort of circle back to a conversation you and I had a couple of weeks ago about steering ratios and how that helps. What are you doing at the moment? Just take stuff down, because you're just taking so many leaps and bounds. Like where you were at the start of the season to where you are now, completely different driver. Back then you could tire save, but you didn't have the pace to match. Now you got a bit of both. Now you read races really well.
Yeah, I honestly, the chats that we've had has been super, super helpful. And and Alan Dobbs has given me great information also. Unfortunately, he had to switch teams. But no, just really YouTube University is what I like to call it. And I learned, there was a guy I found, and he had a great video, and I forgot to save it, and I have not found it again. But at the beginning of the video, he mentioned that the pros drive on 264, and so I've switched to that. And also from Chicago, when you mentioned the whole at a tighter ratio, you're more likely to spin. But with a looser ratio or higher ratio, or I guess would be lower or higher. Either way, you know what I'm saying.
Higher
You
number means
yeah.
less input on the steering wheel to more steering wheel input from the race car. Lower number means you turn the wheel more to turn the wheel the same distance.
Okay, I'm with you. So the lower ratio, yes, you're less likely to spin. Yes, it's not for me. It's not as quick. Um, I still qualify on the 3.15. But I'll take that pace. I'll take the pace I'm going now over what I was doing. And all thanks to you and Alan and other Tom Bourne, Mark Gonzalez, all those guys. They're super helpful, and then of course YouTube. But it's been a ride, that's for sure.
Interesting too, because I remember when we talked with you a couple of weeks ago, you said, I think I finished in every position inside of the top 10, with the exception of a couple of them, a win being one of them here. You bring it home in back-to-back second place finishes. As Scott alluded to, you've put together an incredible regular season, just haven't been able to close out that deal with a checkered flag, but you're third in overall points here, the highest driver without a victory. And we've been talking about this as well. Obviously, during the regular season, race wins, they pay out the playoff points and everything, but consistency wins championships. And with what you've been able to put together here down this home stretch of the regular season, I know we've got some wild card tracks coming up here, like we got Daytona for the regular season finale and everything, but looking at the tracks that we've got coming up here in the playoffs, these are tracks that rely on consistent finishes. With what you've been able to put together here in even the last 6 races where you finished no worse than ninth place, how do you take this momentum in preparation for these upcoming final races here, but maybe even looking forward towards the playoffs? Because we talk about all these guys up front late in the race, but they'll have up and down races. They'll finish well, they'll finish not so well the following week. The consistency's here for the 77.
Yeah, I appreciate always I pride myself on the consistency, because it like as a driver you live to see another lap, right? So in my mind, if I'm in a sticky situation after all the chats, with Scott and everyone throughout the years, it's just that's my mindset, and I can't get out of it to be more aggressive like those guys. But the tracks coming up in the playoffs, like you mentioned, they're not my best, but they're definitely not my worst, and that's my wheelhouse, right? But it's I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Um, I I just I need to be more like Daniel Hemrick in the Xfinity series, right? And I want to get that last win. That would be amazing, right? Be in the championship and just get that last win. But no, I don't know when the down is, because I've been waiting on it, and I just keep getting these breaks, and I'm so thankful for them. And it's been an exciting. It's probably been my best year ever, and I hope it keeps going.
Well, you have to be in the right place and the right time for those, as you say, those breaks to end up putting you on the right side of the spectrum for getting the solid outings that we've seen you be able to get here during the course of the regular season. We wish you luck here going forward, as we've got 4 more races before we put that playoff grid together. Before we let you go, floor is yours, Patrick, for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
I appreciate that. Muffler Man, excuse me. The Smoke Pit, Nutrition Den, Alpha Lion, Top It Off, Hot Sauce. Ryan Catalano makes his own hot sauce, and I'm telling you guys, not to be a salesman, but probably one of the best. Yeah, in my opinion, the best hot sauces I've tried in a long time.
He needs to give you a promo code.
Yeah, right, right. But no, of course, you guys can't wait to watch this one. The Muffler Mob, just everyone that watches and enjoys this, because it's just such a fun hobby. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and thank you.
Well, congratulations on your great run here tonight. Another podium finish for you here this evening at Charlotte. Best of luck when we head to the Yard of Bricks next week at Indianapolis.
Thank you.
Patrick McQuaid, third place finisher here tonight. Let's see if we can now get a hold of the driver that brings home second place for his best finish of 2025, Peyton Holland. Hey, Peyton, this guy's up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, I'll tell you what, this car had some good short run speed here tonight. You exemplified it there at the end of stage 1, almost able to snipe away that playoff point, that stage victory from the 23. And with that kind of squirreled away, saw you starting to close up the gap there on the 54. Did you have anything for him? Did you just need more laps? Did you need a little bit more clean air? Was it a tire difference? What was the mitigating factor here that kept you from maybe being able to park this M&M's Toyota in victory lane?
Well, I maybe getting by the 71. I guess we'll never find out. I'm just happy I got second. I'm just gonna be thankful for that. Not think about the win. Maybe it'll come one day soon. But I also got to I hope Rankin ain't gonna get mad at me for this one. But I got to thank him for messing up that restart a little bit too.
Now I'm going to ask you the exact same thing I asked Patrick, which is if you had one more restart, let's say a green white checkered happened, could you have gotten it done?
I mean, I was just talking with Brandon, and man, he was fast. He came back from, everything in the book to get that win. So, I ain't going to hold that against him. He had a great car. So, once again, I don't want to even think about it. It's just a scenario that never happened. I just want to appreciate this second place and move on.
Look, it's been a tough season. I think the biggest thing is that, you take a look around in this series and there's so many cars with such a tiny talent spread that getting anywhere is really, really difficult. Do you think you're learning something at least each and every week? Like we said, short run speed's been really, really great in the car, but that's not winning races. We're going long runs here. What have you been trying to take that next step forward?
I guess really learning off everybody else, I'm sure some of these guys I know race real life race cars and stuff. And I wouldn't say I'm new to sim racing, but I hadn't been doing it for years. So I'm just trying to take all the information I can get, learn off everybody else, and just get the experience and hope for the best.
Putting that experience to good use, bringing it home second place here tonight. Your best finish of the season here under the lights at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations on a job well done, putting together a good complete race there. Before we let you go, Peyton, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Once again, thank you, Rankin. Thank you, Davies. Davies had a good run. I wish he was in here with me, but that's about it. Thank you, M&M's. They've been on my car about every race this year, so I might have to keep this white patriotic M&M's for the rest of the season.
Peyton Holland, second place here tonight. And the top it off, Hot Sauce 390 at Charlotte. Congratulations on the great run. Should build a bit of a cushion for yourself there around that playoff cut line here. And 4 more races still left to go here in the regular season. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see if we now go down to victory lane. Dial up 3-time winner on the season, Brandon Cooper. Hey, Brandon, the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Copy.
Third win on the season, second win at a D-shaped quad oval here tonight, but had to overcome a lot of different things here. At one point, had a lot of damage on the front end of that car. You got trapped a couple of laps down, I believe, during the Cycle Green Flag pit stops back in stage 1. So that never give up attitude, you end up having that late caution fall right into your lap with those 4 fresh tires, able to keep everybody at bay. But how difficult is it when there's a race this long? It's grueling. The restarts are absolutely chaotic. How do you keep your head in the game for such a long period of time to eventually find yourself in the situation that you were here late?
It definitely is really, really difficult. When I got stuck 2 laps down, in the middle of the first stage, I sped on pit road. Man, I did think my race was over, but we also did have like 230 more laps. So it is really tough, but I tried to stay in it as much as I could. Just kept grinding and grinding and grinding, and we managed to get the win out of it.
Now I'm ready to throw a stone in the glass house here. Any comments about the contact with the 14 or the contact with the 92?
The 92, I thought he was gonna clear me coming off the corner. It probably looks pretty, I don't know, blatant, but I did not mean to wreck him. Like I said, I thought he would clear me, and I was gonna go up the track, just get against the wall so I could come out with a better run off the corner. But the 14, I didn't expect myself to go in the corner like that, and I definitely wrecked him. I sent him a message after the race too. That was all my fault. I definitely was a little sloppy tonight, and I'm not very proud of it. I don't want these guys to know that I'm just out here to wreck and win. I'm not. I want to race cleanly. I want everybody to race me cleanly, but hard. So
Look, I mean, tough season to date at the moment. I think one of the biggest things that we're all looking at in the longest runs right there is it's so difficult to get a pass done. You had to set it up 20, 30 laps before, getting anything done really. And, it was about smart strategy. I think it was all won and lost on pit lane as well. So it's just one of those races where I think yet again, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars that could have reasonably won that race. It was right place, right time, right strategy, and it is so difficult to get that call right.
absolutely. I ended up not taking tires until probably the beginning of stage 3, so that definitely helped me. I had plenty of sets to the end of the race. I actually had another set, so we could have gone probably another 40, 50 laps, but yeah.
I brought up the fact that this is your second win on the season at a D-shaped quad oval, mile-and-a-half racetrack. I know that there's not a whole lot of similarities between Atlanta and Charlotte. Obviously, there's a difference in track surface. There's a difference in how it's going to be abrasive on the tires, all that kind of thing. But was there anything that you were able to call upon with your first win this season back at the worn-out surface of Atlanta that you were able to apply here, especially in your long-run pace? Because as we were looking around at lap times here, from the start of the race to the finish, you were definitely up there in about the top 5 of the long-run pace race cars.
I honestly don't think anything from Atlanta really translated over. Atlanta's a really old surface. I feel like it honestly does drive different, but I honestly don't know how I did manage this one. I got on an hour before the race and put my first laps down, so it felt like we had a really, really good car. I felt like I could run pretty much anywhere. It was just like Scott said. If you got in the dirty air, it you couldn't go anywhere. You really had to set the passes up. So I tried to move around the track all night, and I found my car worked pretty much anywhere. Especially on the long runs, I felt like I was just gaining on people. It wasn't until probably the second time we pitted in stage 3, I was trying to catch Scott, but I had Dalton in front of me, and man, Scott just kept getting away. But luckily we were able to make it happen and get this dub for Whitehead Racing.
Well, you add to your playoff points total here now. 3rd win on the season. Congratulations on the job well done here tonight. 4 races still left to go before we go playoff racing, so some more opportunities to maybe park this 54 in victory lane before we get to that point. We'll let you get back to your celebrating in victory lane, but first we're going to hand it over to you. Let you do some victory lane thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Man, the only people I really want to thank is Whitehead Racing. We got a good group of guys here. They got a fighting attitude. We're always grinding, always trying to get better, always trying to learn. Without them, I probably wouldn't even be doing as good as I am this season. So that's the only people I really want to thank.
Well, Brandon, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Best of luck here going forward. We got Indianapolis coming up next. 4 tough racetracks before we close out this regular season. So congratulations on the great run tonight. Enjoy the victory, and best of luck here going forward, facing towards the playoffs.
Thanks. Y'all have a good night.
Brandon Cooper, your winner here this evening, 3-time winner on the season. It's a sweep here tonight, if you will, for the Whitehead Racing Toyotas, winning both the stages and the overall win this evening. And long race here tonight. We knew that it was going to have all the different facets of endurance type race, all the different varying strategies, the timely, untimely cautions depending on what the situation was, the aggressive restarts. It had a little bit of everything here tonight. More than likely, everybody's going to be leaving, getting out of their cars in an exhausted state.
Yeah, I mean, just a long night at the racetrack. It's that was tiring. And there'd be a lot of people racing out to empty bladders and things immediately after that race. It was, 2 hours 45 minutes or something like that. It was ridiculously long race. A lot of work from these guys. Very difficult to be disciplined across that duration. I'm going to mention that discipline because there was a lot of discipline and lack of discipline on display from different drivers at different periods throughout the night. And the big thing is, the way you drive the race car, I got to be honest, that's the first time that we drove the race car pretty similarly right throughout the night. You had to drive it sort of within the same window, do the same sort of things all night long. And there was bits and pieces and elements of that. And guys who picked it up at the right time, guys who went backwards and maybe didn't read things, guys who got caught. That was, got to be honest, that was such an interesting race to be a part of as well. It was going every single way. The strategy was going in every single direction as well. There was so much going on within that race right there. That was a lot of fun, difficult, and I got to be honest, Seth. I'm laying on the floor right now, and I'm so deflated. I can't talk to you the emotions I'm going through right now because I'm sitting here. I'm trying to be happy for everyone, but cautious at the right time. I don't know when I'm going to get lucky racing again for a while, but apparently it's not in this series.
You got that win, though, at the road course, locking you into the playoffs there, so at least you're going playoff racing here. Kind of looking forward here as well. Some high-speed racetracks coming up. We've got another worn-out surface in a couple of weeks at Nashville. We've got the wild card racetrack at Daytona. But next week, low-banked racetrack, high speeds, 2.5 miles in length. Going to be another lengthy one for drivers to have to kind of endure when we get to Indianapolis. It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. Another racetrack that's pretty well known for its strategy races and obviously as well sometimes the timely, untimely cautions. So we may see a lot of the same what we saw here tonight in terms of varying strategies when we eventually get to the Yard of Bricks. But congratulations to Brandon Cooper, your winner here tonight in the Top It Off Hot Sauce 390. Thank you to everybody that tuned into our coverage here this evening. Thanks to Scott and Matt for the dual driver commentator broadcasting here. Made the night very entertaining for me up here in the booth. To be able to get not one but two drivers' perspectives of everything that was happening out on the racetrack here tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed all of that as well. Join us next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday night, as we continue on the 2025 season for the Esports Oval League's Grind Cup Series, as we'll be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But until then, for Scott Rankin, Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next week as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support